We here in this piece.
What's up?
Welcome everyone to 2218's weekly Attitude for Gratitude podcast. Tonight we have a special docket. I am back, and anyone who's wondering, I am in full effect without a new sober date. I was in Vegas, so. Here at 2218, I'm going to just kick it off with the promo. Elena, our fearful producer, will be putting up the link for anyone who is able and willing to donate to the club that holds this for us. Like 2218 does that for us. Are we good? They're hearing me? Nice. So tonight we have a guest host, but what I want to get into real quick is that this is an interactive show. I'm going to be kind of trying to get cover everything Tad usually covers, so I'll forget the majority of it. It's interactive. Please, everybody, just post your questions. Be interactive. If you're looking for some help, if you know anyone who could benefit from listening to the show, share this show. What do they say? What are the kids are saying now? Smash that like button?
Smash that like button.
Yes. Smash it and
Doesn't
share it.
Say that? Yeah.
So
Smash.
Tonight, we have got a guest co-host. And before I even introduce you, I'm going to let you explain how you became the guest co-host, and then we'll introduce our guest. Take it away. Introduce yourself. Let us know what's up, B.
I am the guest co-host, Brandon. I am stepping in for Tadrick tonight after he decided to approach me last night late at bowling.
Oh, last minute?
Last minute.
Huh.
Last minute. Less than 24-hour advance notice that I would be doing this, but this will be my first podcast.
Way to break him in. Way to break him in, Tad.
That's
Tad's
how we
listening.
learn.
Yeah,
Hey,
thank you,
Tad's
Tad.
listening, isn't he?
I always say this, like
Just jamming home.
we learn
Just
it.
jamming home. Don't
We're
even
figuring it out as we go.
Yeah,
like
just
25
go ahead.
weeks in.
Here you go. Host it, motherfucker.
Hey, well, I don't know if he came at him that hard, but
Yeah.
he told me
I
like,
am.
it was last minute, and I'm grateful that you stepped up. Like, it's appreciated.
That's what we do in recovery. We say yes.
We say yes when
We
we
say yes
don't
most of the
want
time.
to.
Yeah.
Like, we
Yeah.
used to say yes at all the wrong times.
Yeah.
I definitely didn't
Now
want
it's-
to because of stage fright, but
Well,
we're here.
We're not on the stage, so you're okay. So don't worry.
And the time will fly. Like,
Definitely.
The other thing is this. If anyone listening, if you have questions, please post them to the Facebook thread.
Absolutely.
Elena will make sure we get those questions to ask. If you want someone specifically ask the question, just put that on there. If you want to remain anonymous, just put something on there. But yes, we want to help as many people as we possibly can.
Can you actually put something on there and be anonymous? I don't think you can. I don't think it's possible. I think it's unless you got like an alternate Facebook.
Exactly.
account.
Like-
Unless you're like one of them people from my past that keeps
Or check it out. If you want,
Facebooks and tries to
if
friend
you
request
want,
me all
you
the
can
time.
direct message me at 612-791-9942. And I will read you your question if you need. And if you want that number again, just put it out there and I will put it up. Or you can find me on Facebook at Timothy J. Warren. Yeah, reach out. That's the key. That's what we got to do. So in the studio today, we've got the faithful Samantha.
Hi, Tim.
Please introduce yourself.
I'm Samantha. I'm an addict.
Hey, Samantha.
Hey, Samantha.
And then next to me, we've got the eye candy, the eye candy,
Oh, dude.
the one and only Big Rob.
That's my best friend.
Hi everybody. Y'all know me, man. I've been on here before, man. Y'all know who I am.
Woo. So I'm supposed to come in with some serious, some serious heat. It's not happening, man. I got here.
Don't just come in hot, man.
I came
You
in
gotta ease
2
in, man.
minutes.
You
2
gotta
minutes.
ease in. What's up with this? Like just jamming at home, man. Like everybody jams at home with Brandon. You just want to jam at home. Why don't we just coast, man?
Coast away, Rob.
coast, man.
What do you got, Rob?
What do I got?
Coast us.
All right then, man. All right. Well, I suppose I'll kick it off, man. I'd like to talk about goals, basically goals in recovery, goals in life, and Samantha's over here smiling at me. I think she wanted to talk about something else as well. So,
She'll
what would
get
you
her
like
turn.
to talk about, Samantha?
No, we'll do goals.
No,
and then
hang
Samantha will bump up.
on. So we're gonna have kind of two topics here tonight. Just kind of like we do every week. But what?
I mean, I thought we were going to talk about friendships and healthy
And
boundaries.
we will, but I didn't want to talk about that, so I decided.
Wow.
I decided I was going to talk about goals and setting goals and achieving them, and doing that in recovery. I do believe that it's essential to my recovery.
I believe our friendship has been essential to my recovery. But
Mine too.
Cool. Super cool.
Listen, it is. It's way cool. We're on a podcast talking about it. Is there something else you'd like to talk about too, Samantha?
Nope.
No,
Okay,
we're gonna
so
get
friendships
to that.
and
And goals.
No, you brought up
So
goals, and we
first.
already
Okay,
have
good.
we have a
Good.
question on goals.
Awesome.
So before
Good.
you go
Run
into
it.
your
Let's do
details
it.
about
All
that,
right.
this comes from Diana, and Diana P. Thank you for putting a question.
Mom.
up. Oh, is that Mama?
Yeah, that's Mom. Hi, Mom.
Mama. Well, Mama asked, what's the biggest obstacle most people in recovery when, or it says gave, so it must be the typo deal. All right, what's the biggest obstacle most people in recovery have when trying to accomplish their goals?
Themselves.
You get in your own way?
Big time. Well, that says here, what's the biggest obstacle most people.
So let's just stick to ourselves for you. What was it?
So for me, okay. So first of all, it's like it goes back to like the addict way of thinking about like how I don't think I'm good enough and how I think that like I'm a failure and I'm a piece of shit and I'm this and I'm that. You know, it all starts with the things that I tell myself. You know, but over time, you know, I'm starting to learn that like I can set goals and I can accomplish things because like the way that like the addict's mind works when it comes to stress is like a lot of us don't know that. You know what I mean? We really don't handle stress well. Like we think we do, and like that disease of addiction is telling us that we want more. And like I know for me, like man, I'll load my plate full, man, and then all of a sudden I'm starting to cut out sleep. You know what I'm saying? Right. I'm cutting out sleep and I'm cutting out my diet, man. I'm cutting out the gym. That's essential. And before you know it, I'm starting to smoke cigarettes again, man. I mean, it all can go hand in hand, man. But and that's just the deal, man, is that like, you know, I think like, you know, obtainable goals, you know, is key too. But like when I got into recovery, man, I never accomplished anything. You know, I never seen anything all the way through. I would do really, really well and I would excel and I would get all the way to the end and fuck it all up. You know what I'm saying? And I did that repetitively, and that was like the story of my whole life. You know, so when I finally got here, man, I had a whole bunch of obstacles that I had to jump, you know, to get through. Like, you know, probation, and then like I had the ignition interlock in my car. I had that for like 6 years.
That was for a full 6. You had it?
No, it was. I see. I got a DUI when I had my interlock, and then they took it out, and then I got it back. So I had it faithfully for 4 years. Yeah, 4 years. I had it for 4 years. So you know, when I completed that, I completed probation, and I completed apprenticeship training for school to be a journeyman painter, which I did. You know, and like these things that like I never really, you know, I mean, like let's like most addicts haven't even made it through high school. Right. You know what I'm saying? And like me, I had gotten in some trouble, so my probation officer made me get my GED as a requirement for my probation, which is like, you know, to this day, man, I got to thank her for that. You know what I mean? Because I was 16, and if she wouldn't have done that for me, I would have got that till I was like 26, 27, you know? But luckily,
or
man,
until you just needed it.
Right, exactly. You know what I'm saying? So like, I mean, that's like the beginning of it, you know, school, and then like, you know, a driver's license. I didn't do that, you know what I mean? Like I had my license successfully for like 2 months, you know, out of my whole life by the time I got to recovery, you know? So, I mean, it's just those little things. I mean, now obviously I've had my license continually for 5 years, and, you know, the main reason I really wanted to talk about goals and why I believe it's essential is because like, so when, as many of you know, my friend Lee died. He overdosed last year, man, and he was like my best friend. And you know, when we first met each other, we were in group at New Way, and you know, one of the things, you know, we set a goal together that like, hey, we're gonna get an apartment, you know, and that was like the first goal that like, you know, was obtainable, and we did that, you know what I'm saying? And then like we set some more goals, like me and him set a goal that like within a year we're gonna get a union job. We don't care what it is. Right. And then 2 months later I got a union job, and then he just never did, you know, and he just kind of started.
Did you see him going a different route, like?
You know what's really shitty about that is like, you know, at the time I really didn't, you know, I just thought he was just doing his thing, you know, but like once it came
kind of
to the point where he got to with his girlfriend, that's when I seen things started to change with him. And you know, I wish I could have said something, you know, and I wish I would have said something, but I don't know if it would have made any difference, you know. I hope, you know, actually I can't do anything about it now.
Like you don't sit and blame yourself, or
no, absolutely not, because you know he just didn't allow me the chance to help him, you know, because I would have in a heartbeat, right. I would have did anything for him, you know, and that's the truth. But I mean, the reason that's why I wanted to talk about that is because it's like I started setting these goals and like started achieving these goals, You
Like,
know, and that's why I want to talk about that, like just in case anybody's listening and they kind of feel lost, you know, because I know for me, like I feel lost a lot of the times, you know what I'm saying, and like, and I don't really know what I'm doing, and it's like, and it takes a lot of other people to tell me like, hey, you know, you really make a difference in X, Y, and Z, and this and that. Like, I don't always feel those things about myself, so like for me, it's like I got to set these goals and like. And just strive to achieve them, you know, like just little bits by little bits, you know what I'm saying? I can't just like do everything all at once, but like.
Well, be kind of picking it apart before you go down further. When it comes to setting goals, like I hear people talk about, you know, every day they write them down. Every day they write down a list. Like with you personally, like what worked best? Like when you said, hey, Lee, we're going to get these union jobs. Did you write that shit down somewhere?
No.
Did you just say it out loud to hold yourself accountable? Like how did you approach that situation of setting a goal? Like,
Well, first of all, we were in the locker room at the YMCA, and no, I'm just kidding. That's not how it happened. We jumped up and gave each other a high five. No, that's not how it happened. But no, what happened was, is, you know, we were just talking, and I said, man, why don't we just set this goal, you know, because like he always wanted a good paying job, and I did too, you know, and I always thought real highly of the union, so I was like, well, all right, well, why don't we just set this goal that like within a year, like we're gonna have union jobs, and he said, yeah, okay, cool, you know, and 2 months later I did, and he kind of made some progress. Right. Yeah, he made some progress in the right direction, and over time he did have a work crew that he was running for Hennepin County, and he had a Hennepin County job. And
yeah, I remember he was starting to do things.
And he called one of the business reps from that union, but this is like long after the fact. I mean, and don't get me wrong, there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, sometimes you don't accomplish your goals right away, and sometimes you fall short of your goals. You know what I'm saying? And that's okay too, because at least you tried. Right. You know what I'm saying? Because I never fucking tried at anything.
The process of setting those goals, like, was it ever written, or like, did you just say it out loud? So you did. You talked with him about that, like these other goals that you said you accomplished. Like, I know with the Intox a lot, or the breather in the car. That's kind of something that legally you had to do if you wanted to drive. Like, I'm dealing with that.
Right. Yeah. It's a pain in the ass, isn't it?
It's what it is. What it is. Like,
exactly.
I've accepted. I'm gonna jump the hoops if I want to drive. Legally.
Right. Of course. Yeah.
So like, for you in that situation, these goals, they were just, you knew, like, these are things that have to be, that you want to complete in your life, in your head. You see what I'm saying? I want to get it out. Like, for people that want to set goals, the process of setting that goal.
Well, you know, I mean, everybody's different, number one.
Right.
You know what I mean?
So have you ever written down goals?
No, I don't really write them down. Because like me, I think so deeply about them that like I'm not going to forget them.
Right.
You know what I mean? I don't, because if number one, if I write it down, I'm probably going to lose it. You know what I'm saying?
Well, and I think for you hold yourself accountable on like right now you're in the middle of a goal that you set not too long ago, and like you hang out with people that are doing things that are gonna make it tricky to accomplish this goal. Like, but you say it all the time out loud. So I don't know, is that like you're keeping yourself accountable, pulling out insurance on it? Because like, I mean, I'm not airing your business, but like I know you even made reference to it tonight, having to sit around all these people doing something that you are quitting. Like, yeah. Is that part of how you keep that goal attainable? Is just keeping it out in the open?
Well, okay, so let's first of all let's get the goal out there, man. The goal that I'm talking about is I set a goal for myself that this year I wanted to get off any nicotine substance, you know, because like, you know, as a lot of people know me, you know, like I haven't smoked, but like I used a stop smoking aid for 4 years. You know what I'm saying? And I really felt that like, hey, this is kind of ridiculous. Like what, you know, but I really thought in my mind that like, you know, I needed them, and if I didn't have them, I was gonna go back to cigarettes, you know. And the thing was that like I always thought that I needed them, and I was just gonna use those, and it's okay to use those, and it's like, and then I had this day where it was like, okay, I'm just not gonna buy any more. And like, and that was because I wasn't planning on doing that. I was planning on like still using my nicotine lozenges, and like sometime around October or something, I was gonna quit. Like that was my plan. But like it just so happened that like one day I just ran out and I said, you know what, man, what if I just don't buy any more? You know, and then I didn't buy any more that day, and I was like, well, wait, maybe I'm onto something, you know. And then I'm like, okay, I mean, obviously I use mints, you know, like a lot of mints, but like, and I haven't used any nicotine.
We appreciate that.
Right, yeah, and so, some of you need it, Tim.
No, that's why I wear a face mask when I don't need it.
No, but I mean, the thing is that like, I mean, I'm actually, you know, pursuing it, you know, and like, as like I know, like, for me, man, like, I really struggle with self-esteem. I really struggle with self-worth, you know? So it's like, when I set goals, man, and I start doing things and I start seeing myself doing these things, and I'm like, wait a minute, man. And then I can start believing in myself. You know what I'm saying? Because, like, a lot of the times, man, like, I don't always feel super highly about myself. And I got to do things in order for myself you know, like they say, you know, to get self-esteem, you got to do esteemable acts. You know what I mean? So it's like, I mean, I work out constantly. I try to eat good, you know, and it's like, I think nicotine was just another thing that was like just holding me back from like really realizing that like, you know, I'm a good human being, you know, because a lot of the times I'm not telling myself that shit.
Right.
You know what I mean? And a lot of times I'm telling myself that like, oh, I can't do this or I can't do that or this is what's standing in my way and that's what's standing in my way. That's fucking bullshit because I'm the only one that's standing in my way.
Right.
With all these fucking things, man. And it's like, that's why I go to the gym. You know what I'm saying? And like, you know, I'll lift like, you know, some heavy weight because it's like in my head, man, it's like, you can't do that, you know, or other people like, man, there's no way you can lift that, you know, and I go do it, and then that like that opens my mentality up to like, wait, man, you can do this. I can do this.
So like what I'm
You know
hearing
what I'm
is there's a
saying?
bunch of things like for your own personal morale, like the more goals you accomplish, it's just a whole spiritual uplifting. Like you
Right.
said that, like
I
even
feel
going
better
out
about
walking,
myself. Yeah.
gym, all that. So like
Running around the lake,
yeah,
you know,
stuff like that.
Going
You
running
told me.
3 miles,
just
yeah.
getting out of your head
Yeah.
by being by yourself, and that for me, like
It
that's
takes a
tough.
lot of work.
The
It
longer
takes
I'm
a
by
lot of work.
myself, the worse things can get.
Exactly.
But doing something healthy, like for you, Samantha, what's it? Do you deal with like? Are you? How do I say? Are you actively setting goals? Do you actively do things with goals in your life? Like consciously make goals?
I do.
How
Unlike
do-
Rob, I write them down though.
That's
Yeah.
what I want to see. Different angles of this. So
I
course.
I definitely write them down. Like, I'm in school right now, so like I am kind of the opposite of Rob. I don't set attainable goals. Like, I push and push and push. I set all these goals that are unrealistic and way too high. Like, I'm gonna take 18 credits a semester, and I need to get straight A's, and I have to have close to 100% in every class, or I'm failing. You know, I jump on the the board for Pit Squad Rescue, and I want to save every single dog that comes across Facebook in need of help. And I fill my plate, and I have a problem with setting goals that are attainable. So I do. I write them down. I do lose them sometimes. I do speak them out loud. But I definitely have a problem with when I overload myself with all these goals, even if I write them down. I am not staying on top of them. I just get overwhelmed, and I'm like, I don't want to do any of it anymore.
So you just push them to the wayside sometimes.
Some of them.
But you're saying like I'm not sure if you're being sarcastic or like you're saying like I got to get all straight A's. I'm taking like you. It sounds like way too many credits. Like, but you're still trying to attempt to do these things though, right?
Yeah, no, for the most part, I do get straight A's, and I do take 18 credits.
Yeah,
a
and you're
semester.
killing it. You're
Right.
killing it.
I do, but I think, like, realistically, I drive myself crazy.
Right.
So to an unhealthy
So-
point
Yeah.
almost.
Yeah, like, my goals are...
So here's the deal, though, is that like my perception of that is like maybe like just you getting into school is reaching a goal,
Right.
And
For
then
sure.
and then just like break it down in increments. Maybe that'll help. I know like. The mind of us addicts, man, like we're all or nothing, most of us.
Right.
Actually, well, all of us. What am I talking about?
Yeah.
What we all do. You know what I mean?
Right, right.
You ask like almost any addict across the board, they're gonna say like, yeah, man, like
It's
I'm all or nothing.
Yep.
You
Well,
know what
that's
I'm
kinda
saying?
What
So
you just said, like I gotta save every pitbull that I see
Right.
on Facebook. I mean, that's the mentality. But like you, I guess I can't say you do know realistically you're not going to. But do you understand? Like, can you accept that right now in your recovery? Like, shit, I'm not gonna be able to save every pitbull that I see come across
Puppies.
this Facebook. Like, how do you deal with
Puppies.
I
that? Does it really
accept
get in your
it.
head? And
It'll make me feel really bad sometimes. Like, some of them will really mess me up.
Oh, God, yeah, look
we
at
had
their
a dog
faces.
the other night that someone threw out of a window in a plastic
Oh,
bag. It was terrible,
Just
you know,
terrible.
and we weren't able to get a hold of the person who found it, and it like messed with me for the entire night. I'm like, how could someone do that? How can this lady not tell us where the dog is? You know, so those things, you know, like those.
well, thank you, because now it's gonna mess with me. But
Yeah.
no, that,
Hey, you don't even know what the dog
I'm not-
looks like, man.
I don't
he's
need
already.
to.
Oh, I know.
I'll show you
No, I
pictures.
know. The reason I say this is because, like, I know how my imagination works. Dude, I would have like the dog already picked out in my head right now.
Yeah,
you know,
you
like
already know me.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like
you
as
know
you
how
said
I-
that, like I'm thinking of the dog that you're thinking of.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
yeah, no,
Ron
like-
Perlman.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You know?
well, look, like our co-host and you, like you know each other really well. Like, so I'm gonna throw this to the co-host. Like, you are around our guest a lot, like and like
Poor
we're
guy.
sticking on
Poor
her
guy.
on
Allegedly.
like, her topic.
Allegedly, right?
Well, I don't want to air people's business. Like you two are close, you guys are really close friends. Blah blah blah. You know each other, so you're around her a lot. Like, can you
He's
see?
my boyfriend.
Oh, all right, cool. So they're a couple. I'm not. I wasn't here early enough to prep nothing. So
He wasn't trying to intrude. That's all.
exactly. All right, so them two are over there. Like, no.
This motherfucker.
All right, so
Reading books together. That's what he meant to
mom,
say. That's
yeah,
what he was
so
going
we're
to say.
smashing books, like
Just-
getting
Yeah.
through books.
Just like that like button, yeah.
Smash
Just like
that like button. So Brandon, is it like do you see, and not trying to like, I just want like, now we get to see the perspective outside looking in. So like when you're seeing her deal with these things with school or like the dog, like, can you physically see what it does to her? Like, what's that like? What's the experience of watching her deal with goals that don't go through?
Well, it's kind of hard to explain with her, as a lot of us know Samantha pretty well. The way she can take things differs. But when she does struggle with these goals, she just tries to push herself to the point where she is so exhausted she can't continue to do these goals and to work for them in the ways that she wants to. But somehow she does manage to pass that.
Right.
And she'll get through to these goals. She accomplishes every
Motherfucking
single
beast.
one she sets.
Right. Oh, and I know you're in recovery too. You're real big in recovery. Like I know you help a lot of people. You're there for people reaching out. Like this is what I know about you. Like I'm not that close with you. We know each other, and I try to keep it that way for the show. Not like, oh, I knew you were coming on, but like I don't ever try to talk to any of the guests that we have on prior to coming on, because anything I want to know about you, I want to know about it here, because it's usually recovery related. Like. I just want, and then to hear the audience, to have the audience hear that as this journey we go on, like things like you're dealing with now, or the things you're talking about, Rob. Like in our active addiction, I like to kind of point out both aspects. Like in your active addiction, I still would have cared if someone threw a dog out. Yeah, like that. Yes, but like,
well, in my active addiction, there was no way I would ever quit smoking.
right? No goals.
know?
Period. Like we're on the topic of goals. Like
I know. Here's my goal was like, man, I'm gonna sell a whole bunch of dope, man. I'm gonna, you know what I mean? I'm like, I'm gonna have this, I'm gonna have that, man. I'm gonna be in a rap video. You know what I mean? Like honestly, man, that's what was going on in my head. Is like, I'm gonna be on a rap video, man. You know what I mean?
That was your big goal.
Hey, let me tell you something, man. I was a reverse drug dealer.
The reverse.
I was a reverse
Break that
drug
down
dealer.
for us. What's the reverse drug
Yeah,
dealer?
what is
Okay, so I would try to sell the drugs back to the person I bought it from for cheaper because I didn't want to be dope sick. You know, and I mean, so that's a reverse drug dealer. I would try to give it back to them for cheaper than they gave it to me.
Oh, hell no.
Realistically, but that's backwards.
Yeah, it's
that's
way
backwards.
backwards.
And then, not to mention that, like, not only that, like, I would be so high that I didn't want to make the transaction because that would be illegal. So I would just give it to them. You know what I'm saying? So like, that is not a good way of selling drugs.
That's like
I was not a good drug dealer. I will admit that finally.
Finally.
It only took me 8,276 tries just to make myself believe that. But yes, I was a terrible drug dealer.
He said,
just to let you know.
I didn't sell drugs. I traded them for money.
Yeah, right.
Like I'm not picking my nose. I'm pointing at my brain.
Right, exactly,
Like,
man.
come on,
It's all
guys.
on how you word it, man.
It's all on how you word it. Like that is
man.
nutty. Brandon,
Yes.
Brandon.
what's goals? I know you're co-host, but I'm gonna ask questions.
Yeah.
You got questions? You gotta just this is how you do it. You catch something he says.
Yeah, just cut them off, man.
Boom.
Fuck people when they're talking. Just cut them right off.
Well, we still talking
I'm
about
just
reverse
kidding. We
drug
don't do that.
dealing?
Yeah, no.
Can we go deeper on reverse drug dealing?
No, that's basically as far as it went, man. It didn't work.
So wait,
I'll
you know
say
what?
that.
Forget
No.
this. What was the outcome on the dog out the window? Like that tears me up now.
We don't know.
They just never got a
They
hold of the
never-
person.
They quit responding to us, and they would not tell us where the dog was. All she claimed was we had a foster for it, but
But
Do you
without
think it was some
bringing-
BS?
No, it was. It definitely happened. Jamie, who owns Pit Squad Rescue, was called right away. It was posted numerous times, but the lady that found him basically said she had a foster for the dog, but
What does that mean? She had a foster. She
she
had.
found somewhere to go. So that's
Oh,
what we call
okay.
people when the dog gets to go somewhere.
Okay.
Like a foster child, but it's a
Yeah,
dog.
but it's a
you know?
better
Okay.
than a.
So like year to date, I know this Pit Squad Rescue. I think you guys talked about it last week on the show, and
week.
I only got to hear half of it because on the plane, like that's when I listened to it. By the way, great show last week. You guys hammered it out. That was great. You guys didn't spend no time talking about me, but whatever.
So here missing you the whole time.
I was hoping so.
I did. I had a piece of paper in front of me, and I couldn't write anything on it. Because
what?
Because I couldn't talk about your sausage fingers.
Oh,
That's what I do. Like every show that like I'm on here with Tim, like like because not everybody obviously can see what we're doing. I make it look like I'm gonna ask him a question, man, and then like I point at the paper and I write something down and I don't let him see it, and then I hand it to him.
and it says sausage fingers. I got huge hands, but they're not really sausage fingers,
Hands,
dude.
little fingers.
Yeah, big feet, big socks.
Absolutely.
Brando, talk to us about some goals.
Yeah.
How are goals for you? I know that you are not new to recovery, but time-wise, like you're fresher than
New again.
New again.
Came back from some research.
Came back from doing some research.
Yeah.
That's a great way of saying it.
Yeah.
I'm glad that you were able to
terrible
come back
research.
from doing some research. A lot of us don't get to come back. Like
That's official.
That's really official. Like I don't want to dwell on that, but the hard fact is a lot of people go back out and die, or
They just
jails,
come back.
institutions, or death. So, or never come back. Whatever the case is, I'm glad you're here, bro. What are some goals you've been making for yourself? How are you staying? How are you staying active in recovery?
With staying active in recovery, I've been coming to 3 to 4 meetings a week now. I actually just took up a service position here, running the meeting on Sunday nights at 6:30. And I'm kind of like Rob. I keep the mental goals in my head. I tell them to myself over and over again. If I wrote them down, I'd probably lose them in Samantha's schoolwork.
Right.
But my goals right now, since being new to recovery, is just the day-by-day aspect of it. Just trying to keep myself going, doing the right steps that I need to do, doing the work that I should, instead of thinking that I got this all on my own like I did last time.
Yeah.
So you're listening to others.
Listening to others, yeah,
Taking
taking the advice.
suggestions.
Instead of yourself, that's good.
Right,
That's
right.
good.
Because listening to
That's
myself
huge.
hasn't worked out for the last couple years I tried it.
Yeah.
And some people that might work. Like me personally, it wasn't gonna. So like listening, like I'm gonna pick apart some of that. So like, who's been helping you? Like who have you been listening to?
Pretty much
Not
anybody
like
that's
not a
willing
name,
to
but
talk.
like
no, yeah.
When
pretty
you go
much-
to meetings, like you realize like, all right, you find someone that you know. It sounds like wow, that's interesting. What there's like, explain to me how you find someone to listen to in recovery.
First off, I put my phone down in the meetings now. Actually, pay attention.
Hang
to
on,
whatever-
repeat that a few times for people listening.
Put your phone down when you come to a meeting. It's worth it.
Yes.
Take what people are saying. They don't say it just to say it. They're telling other people so that you can listen.
Right.
They want you to take their advice because a lot of these guys have been through it 5, 6, 7, 20 plus years.
Right.
Some of us only have 60 days. And that's
Yeah.
why I take their advice. I mean, they've been doing this for a lot longer than me.
Don't diminish them 60 days though. It's
No.
not only 60 days.
No, I didn't mean it
All
that
right,
way,
no,
but
just be proud of the time you got. But yeah, go ahead.
No one gets to 6 years without them 60 days.
You got darn right. I used to always be like, there's a dude named Dave R, and I'd be like, every time I got clean time up to about 18 months, I'd be like, I know I only got a year, but and then of course I always just throw up at the mouth. But he'd always shut that shit down. Like the time you got, you earned. Like bro, the time we have, 2 days, 2 years, 20 years. You've earned that time. Like you have the right to brag about that time. Just don't be an asshole about it. But dude, you worked hard for that time, man. And that's what like I'm asking is like, all right, so you put your phone down, you get into meetings, like you found a sponsor, or you looking, or
that I am still looking for the correct one.
Right.
I just want to make sure I have the right person that I can connect with and actually want to do the work with, instead
Right.
of somebody I despise doing it with.
well,
'Cause I've heard a lot of the
sometimes
bad
that
stories.
works.
Well, that could be.
Well, yeah. I mean, that's the thing. You gotta figure out what works for you. But
Exactly, and that's what I'm
Maybe
still
a
trying
temp?
to do.
An attempt, yeah.
like get a temp.
A temp
Temp,
sponsor?
yeah,
See, that's the thing. I didn't know that was the thing.
Yeah. Maybe.
Yeah, like I still my sponsor after 3 years is still my temporary sponsor from another fellowship. Like that's how he said, yeah, I will be your temporary sponsor. When I asked him to sponsor me, well, we went through a whole entire book, all these steps. It's just it's not like an ongoing joke, but it might turn into something, or you might find someone else. It doesn't have to be permanent. Nothing does. Like, don't wait. My suggestion, like someone gave to me, was don't wait for that perfect match. Just start.
Okay.
Just start.
That's good
I mean,
advice.
that was some suggestion someone gave to me. I'm not telling you to do that. I'm saying serious. Like that's something someone said to me because I was trying to go after some rock star dude that everybody like knew and and
Like Rob.
Yeah, I was gonna say like Rob here.
What?
Filler.
filler.
When I was in AA, like early on, like I was going to all these Saturday Night Live meetings, like there's a circuit speaker that go around, like I was like, I want that dude, like he's most popular and this and that, and it was shit. Like at the end of the day, the guy who ended up sponsoring me, like when I called him in my outpatient. Matter of fact, my mom called him in my outpatient. Like, Tim's in recovery now, and he's the only one we knew in recovery. Whatever the case is, like he's like, yeah, I'll temporarily sponsor you. Like, and that's who ended up being my sponsor. So no, I got a piece. Was the orange a good one? I want that. We're eating candy here, folks. So yeah, sponsorship.
I feel guilty about it too.
Putting your phone down. Like, what made you think to just put your phone down?
Because that way I can
As he looks at
pay
his?
attention.
Yeah.
I'm looking at mine for questions. We have 2 more questions. that
Yep,
popped
Matt
up, so.
C came through. Question. What, you want to read that one?
Yeah, I can ask it.
Go for it.
Matt C asks, what's one thing that you do to keep yourself spiritually fit?
Who are you asking?
We're going to ask Samantha that one.
For me, well, I am super involved in the church. We actually started a church in North Minneapolis. It's a branch of our Free Grace United Church. So I'm there Saturdays from 11 a.m. to 8 p.m. And, like that's how I keep myself spiritually fit. I keep really grounded in that. I try to pray every day. I try to think before I react. That's the big thing for me right now. Like not acting like a crazy person when I want to. And just thinking like, I don't do things that way anymore. I don't live like that. And like really try to pray for people. Anybody who knows me knows I can have a short fuse at times. And
Burn a little hot, yeah.
sometimes.
It's all right. It's okay.
I get a little passionate, and
Exactly, it's
before
passion.
I react, I really try to pray about it, and that prayer is what keeps me spiritually grounded. That's how I stay spiritually fit. I stay in the Word, I stay at church, and helping other people at church. I run a food shelf at the church we opened, so that helps me feel pretty spiritually full to reach out and help other people, not just addicts, like people in the community of North Minneapolis that really need us.
So like you're not talking about just religious. You're talking, spiritually. Like, do you equate the two as the same? I hear church, and that's the first thing I think is religion. Like,
I think for me, they are hand in hand. For other people, I don't think that they need to be hand in hand. Like spiritually full for me means, yes, getting from church what I need, filling with the Word, but also helping other people helps me stay spiritually fit. Like getting out there, we did a lot of street ministry when we opened the church, and like getting out and praying with people. I was super uncomfortable doing it in that neighborhood. It was like
scared or uncomfortable?
I was just uncomfortable of how, I grew up in North Minneapolis. I grew up in the dead zone, but like this is right after the stuff with George Floyd had just happened, and I'm out here with some like little old white lady that's like asking way too many questions, just doing the most, and I'm like, you clearly do not belong here. It was just uncomfortable, but by the end of the trip, I was like, I seriously got a high from like how much people wanted to know about God.
Internally, you were feeling spirit, like you felt good about yourself.
I felt like I was on a high from how good it felt. To me that equals spiritually fit. Like the helping people. I'm really big on helping the homeless, doing all of that stuff. Like I try to put myself out there as much as I can, and that keeps me spiritually grounded. Right,
like that's a big go-to in these programs. Is like when all else fails, help another suffering addict or alcoholic, like someone in need, a homeless person, whatever, helping someone else. Like, I don't know how to do. All I did was help myself forever. Like,
right.
What's that like for you, Rob? Like, I know you help. I know tons of people come to you for sponsorship. Like,
yeah.
What's the payback for you when it comes to helping someone? Like, we sat by a lake and went through some step work. Like,
yeah, it was majestic.
Did you get any? Shut up. It was windy. and I was
the wind was blowing in my hair, and it was just
yeah, it was blowing all beautifully. Like,
yeah, it was just so majestic.
Yeah, seagull shit and nasty carp.
Seagulls. We don't have seagulls around here.
So,
do we?
like after
we like flew to California to do step work.
Like just
that would have been cool.
Our own experience. Like because I can talk about that. Like when we were done with that, like. I felt good to be able to go through some of that. What's that like for you? Because you were helping me. Like, after times like that, when you're helping someone, or better yet, when you can tell someone, when you're doing some step work with someone, and, like, you see that light go off on them when they realize something about themselves, for the better, what is that like for you?
It's basically just like, all right, yep, welcome to the human race. You know.
So it's nothing all majestic and like it lifts.
Well,
your
I
whole-
mean, it can, you know, but it's just kind of. Oh, I thought that was a middle finger. I was like, wow, man, somebody. No, it is a great feeling, man. I think like for me that whole uplifting thing that you're talking about comes over time. You know, it's like not just like in the spur of the moment step work, you know, but like
what is it for you then that helps you stay spiritually fit? I know you kind of shared on earlier with your goals, but what's main that pops in your head right away, like for you to be
I'd say, man, you know, there's a lot of different things, man. It depends on what's going on in my life, man. I think number one is definitely lifting weights. You know, that's something that really helps me stay spiritually fit. Running, especially like if I'm really hurting and you know if I'm depressed or I'm down or I'm obsessing, I'll run, and I'll run for like 3 miles and like that really helps. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Can you explain
taste
that?
the blood?
It's really for me, but could you explain that to the audience? What is a runner's high?
Well,
Chubbier kids don't know anything about that.
Not at all.
well, you know, like when I'm done running, man, or like especially like you know, like halfway through, like in my life, man, like you know, I never ran anything more than a mile, you know, but now it's like like somewhere around like the 1.5 mile mark. It's like I'll start thinking better, and I'm starting to like, I just get that push to want to keep running. You know what I'm saying? And then like, and then I run and I run and I run, and then all of a sudden I'm almost done, and I'm like, wow, I just ran around this whole motherfucking lake. You know what I mean? And then it's like I get done, man, and I take that little like that couple of minutes just to sit and chill, man, and like that like those couple of minutes, man, are just like they are, man. It's like a high, man, and it's also you just accomplished something, you know that's pretty hard to do. You know what I'm saying? Especially for years of using methamphetamine and you know crack and heroin and you know I love smoking. Weed. You know what I mean? Yeah, weed, man, cigarettes. Man, I started smoking cigarettes when I was 8. You know, and so I mean just to do that like and then to run, man, it's kind of like. Because I always told myself I can't do this, I can't do that, I can't do this, I can't do that, and like, and now it's like I can, you know. And don't get me wrong, I'm not like no, you know, pro jogger or nothing, you know, but I make it around and I don't stop running. You know what I'm saying? But it's just like little things that I told myself I couldn't do, man, that like I can do, and like, and then when I get done, man, like I feel good. You know, it's almost like when I'm in the gym, you know, and I do deadlifts. Like those are like they release a lot of testosterone, man, and like. After I'm done doing deadlifts, man, like I feel really good, you know.
Spiritually uplifted, you would say?
I do. Like I feel good, and I feel like I can handle situations a lot better. You know, I'm not crabby. You know, and a lot of other things go into play with that too. You know, diet, water consumption,
Serenity.
Pup dog, yeah, hell yeah, she's the best. You know, eating good, getting enough sleep. You know, and like I'm so grateful today that like you know, these last couple of months I've been sleeping. It's been great. You know what I mean? Like actually getting 8,
Like
9, 10
good
hours of sleep.
sleep.
Yeah, and I got to go back to work Monday, man.
Good for you.
It is good. It is good. It is
Ew.
good. But it is good, but it's also ishy at the same time. You know? Like I am glad to go back to work, but it's also like, oh man, there goes that sleep, you know?
Well, then
But-
maybe that's another goal you can try to obtain is like, all right, now I'm going to start going to sleep at 9:30.
Right. Yeah, usually I'm in bed by about that time, 9:30, 10 o'clock.
You geezer.
He's an older man.
But I got to get up at 4:45,
Yeah.
so, you know.
Like my dad's been doing that for
realistically,
so long. I'm like,
realistically,
you're
I should
crazy.
be going to bed at 8:45.
Right.
You know,
Like that could be a goal you make.
but
Things like
9:30
that.
to 10:30, sometimes 10. You know,
Right.
but I don't like it though. You know what I mean? I like to get my 8. You know, but yeah, like sleep has a lot to do with it. My water consumption has a lot to do with it. And that, and like the first couple of minutes, like this is something that I've just recently been doing is that like the first couple of minutes when I wake up, like I don't touch my phone, I don't do any of that shit. I'll just like sit in my bed and like actually wake up. You know, that's not something I've ever really done in my life.
What do you mean? You got to so go into detail with that. Like,
Well, like, you know, because, like, all right, so, like, most of my life is spent, like, you know, okay, so when I was younger, I went to school, you know, and then when I got older, you know, obviously I got high and didn't sleep, but, like, let's talk about those other times where I was actually trying to be a productive member of society. So it's, like, when I get up, it's, like, instantly... Like when I'm working, I'll go to sleep and then I'll get up and then I gotta get my clothes on. I gotta brush my teeth, or you know, I gotta all 3 of them. I gotta brush my teeth. I gotta get my food ready, and I gotta get out the door. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, Very rarely do I ever, and then like with the checking up the phone, like I want to check on I want to check on how my stocks are doing. I want to check on Facebook. I want to check on this. No, but
Stock man.
no, it's just that shit, man. That shouldn't be the first fucking things I think about, man. I need to fucking get up and like just number one, man. Think about what I'm grateful for, and give myself the chance to wake up and like process some things instead of like going and checking on my phone because like instantly I'm
jumping up and
right and then going to work or doing whatever, man. It's like it's good to actually like sit and actually wake up.
I'm gonna try that, man.
I've never done it before. You know what I'm saying? I never did that before, and I was like, I had heard it somewhere. I think it was on the radio. And I was like, I'm gonna try that.
You set your alarm earlier now to do that?
No, I don't set my alarm. I haven't been working.
you,
So
yeah.
See, that's the hard part. Is that like when I get up at 4:45, dude, am I gonna be able to do that? Because chances are, dude, I'm gonna wake up at 4:45, and I'm gonna be like, all right, let me just sit here and wake up a bit. Boop, I'm late. You know what I mean? I'm gonna wake up like, oh shit, oh no, it's 6:30. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know if I'm gonna have that opportunity, but I've just been saying like that's one of the things that I've been grateful for since I've been not working is that I've been able to do that.
Right. No, and that.
And to go home when I want and leave when and do what I want, man. That's great. But you know what? I mean, I do also love the company I work for. I love my job. So it's gonna feel great to go back to work. You know what I mean? So and they're gonna have me doing some different stuff and
that'll
that's
be cool.
Yeah.
Like, change of scenery type
Definitely, man. Because I'll tell you what, man, you get kind of burnt. Definitely.
Well, we talked about that. You came and graciously helped me out on a gig, and we were talking. I think I was bitching about the job at hand, and you're like, "That's painting, dude." You're like, "Yeah, no, I don't love it," but just that repetition of doing the same thing, tape it up, paint it, clean it up,
get pissed off at the tape.
Right? Yeah.
Every time, yeah. No, yeah, it's a big pain in the ass. Some people find painting is therapeutic. I don't.
Well, when you there's a difference between therapeutically painting and painting for a paycheck.
Yeah.
One, you gotta be on a time. One, you get to just lollygaggly paint. You're on no schedule. You have no boss. You have you're doing.
Yeah, but no, I mean that as
at
like
work.
Yeah, some people look at it like as a meditation.
That would be awesome.
Yeah, I wish I looked at it that way.
That would be awesome.
Yeah, I would. Yeah, I'd definitely be really loving going back to work. But no, it's just, it doesn't really work like that for me. But yeah, I mean, you do get a little burnt, but we got some things going on that are something else, and that's cool, man. I'm looking forward to doing something new.
Cool.
But realistically, man, they're just gonna have me do the same stuff usually because this is what happened last year. They're like, oh, we're gonna teach how to hang vinyl, because like vinyl.
I remember that.
Yeah, dude, I did it for one day. So it's like I'm not gonna get all all hyped up about it. Yeah, you know what I mean? Because I might do it for one day and then be like, oh, go paint.
Right.
So I mean, whatever though, man. I mean, it's good to go back. I'm grateful I got some time to hang out. We went on vacation. That was cool. You know what I mean?
We went on vacation
Twice.
Road
Yeah, we went on
trip.
2 vacations. You know what I mean?
What other one?
And I also had
We
the
went
chance
to
to get
Washington
yeah,
and then
Washington.
to Cali.
Yeah, and then to California.
Oh, okay.
Washington was scary.
Yeah. Well, Idaho was, but and also I got my motorcycle permit. A lot of things that I've been I've been able to do, and it's like I haven't really been hurting for money, obviously, so that's good too. And that's all a direct result of being in recovery, 'cause
Right.
obviously if I was using, man, I would have really had fun, but I'd probably be in jail or dead.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, oh, cool, man. Like
Our brain wants to tell us we could be
unemployment. I'm
doing
gonna
all
sell
of
some
that.
dope because that works so well for me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, yeah, I got a good idea. You know what I mean?
Our heads always want
And
to
my
tell
fucking
some
buddy
other
sitting next to
song
me
and
like,
dance.
yeah, man, that's a great idea. Like, motherfuckers gonna get me high. You know what I
Dumb,
mean?
That's
Yeah.
stupid.
I love hanging out with Rob, man. He does so much stupid shit. Here, let me get a front.
Shit.
He'll forget about it in 10 minutes.
So we've had this question before, and I think we've asked you, Rob, but Samantha hasn't been asked this. So when you found a sponsor, what were you looking for when you got a sponsor? Like, what were the qualities in a sponsor you were looking for? Because we talked about it earlier, and I think someone asked that question.
It's a good one.
Like, this could be maybe some of the people listening, like, who have sponsors. Put your answers on that's another thing, like, we were talking about maybe start doing, like, when we have questions, feel free to put them up there and we read other people's answers. But, like, this could help Brandon out in finding a sponsor. Like, what qualities or what was it like finding for a sponsor for you? What was that process?
Well, my first sponsor, I just took the first sponsor that suggested it to me that she would be my sponsor, and that did not end well
Right.
at all.
We just seen her yesterday.
Yeah, she was had all of her stuff packed and was living in her car. And just a few months ago, I was
Whoops.
like dealing with some stuff, and she tried to tell me, "Oh, well, you know,
Whoops.
you've made it past 5 years. You can now drink because you've made it."
Oh, wow.
That's what my sponsor
That's a
told
good
me.
sponsor.
Yeah,
Yeah,
And
yeah,
that's
yeah,
your
that's
living
excellent.
room
Joking,
part.
that's a
Yeah.
shit sponsor.
Excellent
So
information.
that was, that was my experience with my picking my first sponsor. The second person that I had sponsor me, she was amazing. She was super patient with me, probably too patient, didn't push me in anything, which also didn't work very well with me, but kind of gave me way too much leeway when I was working the steps with her. But she lived really far away, so we didn't get much time together. I'm currently now looking for another sponsor, and it's someone that I know will call me on my shit. Like, I know I don't look
A
like
female?
definitely a female.
Okay,
Yes,
okay.
yes. Someone. I mean, I don't look like I'm super intimidating, but I've
She
heard
is.
that like sometimes I can be a little overbearing. So someone that's like not afraid to call me on my shit and be like, "You're full of shit. That's not right." You know. That's my biggest thing that I'm looking for in a sponsor. I'm not like trying to find the perfect fit for me because I've seen that with other people. Like whoever is like polar opposite of you, that's actually usually who's going to help you the most. Like
Right. That's what I
someone-
did.
yeah.
That's exactly what.
That's what I did. Yeah.
Someone who can see things from a different angle because
Right.
clearly my thinking is completely fucked up. Like
Right.
I don't know what's best. That's taken me a really long time to admit that. Like I do not always know the best way. 99% of the time I do, but I don't sometimes know the best way to do things. So looking for a sponsor that knows the other end of it or has a different outlook. That's what I would say. That would be the best thing.
That would be your suggestion. So
That-
like, so your first sponsor, you were just like the first one that was talking about like, yeah, I'll sponsor women. You went to her,
Yep.
or she was like, you should get
She's
a
like,
sponsor.
I got you, man.
Pretty much.
and check it out.
Come over here.
And check it
Come
out.
on
In
over
5
here,
years,
man.
you can drink again.
Yeah. I mean, hey, let me put you on a 5-year plan, man. Let me tell you about that, man. We're gonna set you off at about a pint a day, man, and then we're just slowly gonna drop you down, and then we're gonna build you right back up, and then at 5 years, you can go use successfully.
You're healed. That's
Look at
pretty
it,
much
yeah.
what you said.
Oh,
You're
recovered.
healed.
Yeah, I love that one.
What?
I love that one.
I know
oh,
people- I know
I'm
people-
recovered. What the
I know people
fuck
that
is that,
introduce
man?
themselves that way,
I
like,
know. What
"Hi,
the fuck is?
I'm a
I am
recovered addict."
Recovered. Well, fuck, man. Once,
Where the
hey,
fuck
if you
do they
ever
do
get
that?
there, you better fucking let me know, man.
Yeah, well,
You know what I
tell
mean?
me-
Because I'm like, whoa, well, you're recovered. So wait, you don't have any of that shit going on in your head? You're recovered? What? What the fuck? So that's why you come to meetings, just so you can tell people that? Shit, I'm recovered, man.
That's
I
scary.
just came here to tell you, man.
Oh wow, the X up. You know what? Look at when you say shit. Watch that. Look at the reading.
Oh.
They started out. That's crazy. For the
Did they always do that?
for the hearing impaired, we have
Did
closed
they?
captions.
They didn't always do that, did they?
I don't know. We
No.
must have got closed captions. If anyone's listening, closed captioned. Yeah, all the stars are swear words.
Uh-oh.
So
I'm not recovered. Those stars prove it.
Oh,
all right. So we went through some goals and some sponsorship talk.
Yeah.
I think it's time we move on over to your topic.
Yes, let's do that.
Break it down.
Oh, my topic?
Yeah, what do you want to talk about, Samantha?
Oh, what I thought we were originally coming here to talk
And
about.
we still
we
can.
still are.
Wait,
we
let's
still
hash-
are.
Let's
Yeah.
hash out this resentment I felt was already built.
Yeah, yeah.
What's
Another
his
one,
What's
Tad's
his
good
heat?
point.
Did
I
you guys
have-
have
No
an agreement?
I think that she just decided that that's what our topic was going to be.
No.
and I
Tad
just decided. I
Dad
didn't wanna-
decided
Tad
this
decided
topic.
this
He
was
was
the
when he
topic.
See,
came
this
Tad's
is
not
the hard
on
part
the
about
show.
saying anything around a
Tad's
couple.
not here.
Is that they can both? No, this is Tad said that.
Teamed up on you.
Get the
Huh.
fuck out of here. Go over there, man.
a big smart
I wasn't
man.
talking to you, man. This dude,
Here's the
man.
thing. Tad's not here, so it
Yeah.
does. You know what? And here's the other thing. It doesn't even
Tad's
matter.
not here, man.
We
Doesn't even matter.
had plans, Robert. We had plans.
No, we didn't.
All right. You know what? Who cares, guys? You know what?
And realistically, too, I did call you today because I was gonna be like, okay, let's get a game plan, but
And I was busy.
you never called me back.
What did I tell you about making game plans for the
So
podcast?
here's the deal.
Don't
Well,
do
not
it.
even a game plan. It was just more or less like, hey, what time are you gonna be here? You know, maybe I was thinking this. What do you think about this? And instead you just don't call me back, and then you get here, and then I say that, and now you're mad at me.
No, I'm not mad.
You are absolutely. Yeah, you
All
are.
right.
Yeah, she is.
We either hash
It's
this
okay. I'm
all
not
the
worried
way
about
out
it.
right now, or we're talking friendship.
No, we're all good.
Oh
here.
wait. This is a good thing about friendship. Like these two are good friends. Like
Yeah, it's all
in
good. I ain't
health,
mad.
They're being healthy about this understanding that wasn't an understanding.
Yeah.
That is friendly that isn't friendly.
Some
but
miscommunication that wasn't communication. That
you
could
know
have been
what? Why don't you
communication, but it
guys
wasn't.
gather your thoughts real quick while I plug the Gratitude Cafe? Whoa. So check it out. 2218. We have this thing called the Gratitude Cafe. It's you know what? For $5, guys. on
$5.
Fridays, Jane, the lovely Jane, will cook you
$5
a plate of food that is homemade. It's hot. It's fresh. You're getting a dessert. You're getting a side. You're getting coffee, water. Like, you will not be able to finish your plate of food. Well, I do, but then I go home all belly busted. But like the biscuits and gravy, I always brag about this because they make she makes these biscuits. It was biscuits and gravy, a brownie, corn, and I think there was like some other side dish, but and cornbread. It was fire though. The Gratitude Cafe, $5, like Friday nights here at 2218. Do not miss it. Like we've been running out, but if you get up here, and I think they're doing it like at 6:00. If you're up here by 6, I should get that time down. I don't have the exact time, but be here at 6:00. You can get your face fed for $5. You guys, just talk. All right, I'm done. Let's figure it out. Come on.
Yeah,
You're up to
run
bat.
it, run it, Sam.
Oh,
Run it.
Sam's
It's
up.
on you, Sam.
So
Let's
we're
talk about this.
We're just talking, like, my whole
No,
idea
wait.
was-
Let me tell the audience real quick. So while I was telling you guys about the
I
Gratitude
told you
Cafe,
Tim was going to do this. Didn't I tell you he was going to do this?
There's nothing wrong with it.
how am I not like they're doing sign language, but then I look at their mouths, they're also lipping and like
Nobody
Yeah,
Did
could
you
well,
guys
stand
understand
anybody.
what you were saying?
No.
Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely.
They were saying they love each other.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
I heard
absolutely.
olive juice, but whatever.
So
So
she said she wasn't mad, and I said I'm not mad either. And then I said that I'm not mad, and I think that you're mad just a little bit.
And I'm not mad a little bit. Sometimes he gets these misconceptions. It's the passionate part of me.
wow.
Okay.
I'm still curious about what you said Tim would do. Was call you out. It
Tim
just
likes to interrupt.
oh hell. Oh
Yeah, let's talk about him like he's not here.
I interrupt quiet
Yeah,
like
fucked him. And where are those stars at?
like they were like not even talking out loud, but I still was able to interrupt. That's crazy. It's like whatever. And no, we're already past that. It's pretty
Oh, man, you
pretty
can
real
see
time.
it.
It's pretty real time.
Absolutely.
How do you interrupt a non-speaking conversation? Like there was no words being said.
No,
And I managed
that was
to interrupt.
after. That
Yeah,
was
that's
after.
after.
That was after.
Like, I started talking, you were like,
Oh,
oh,
and I
let me
cut you
Yeah,
off.
and then you cut.
Yeah, no, I couldn't.
He
let
forgot.
That
Interrupt
He
him.
forgot.
I couldn't let that shit fly. No way in hell. We had to bring it up. So all right, hands off. Go ahead, bring it. Go ahead. You're up to bat, Samantha.
All right, so yeah, no, we were going to talk about friendships and
We
boundaries.
still are.
We are. We
All right.
still are.
We're rolling.
So I don't know where to go from there now.
It was your
because,
topic.
you know,
Why not?
It was
Yeah, it was
supposed to
your
be our
topic,
together, but
yeah.
I guess I will go with it.
Hell yeah. Let's run it.
I just think it's super important because unlike a lot of people in the rooms, me and Rob we've heard a lot from a lot of different people just because of how close we are. We're not sleeping together. We've never slept together. He's my best friend in the entire world. And I think what's made our friendship work is like, one, Rob has shown a loyalty to me like I have never seen in another person. You know, like when my transmission went out, what was that, like 9 months ago?
Yes.
I lost my shit. Like I was like, I'm just gonna go out and do what I used to do. I was finally at YSR. I was pissed. I was going through something in our relationship. It just was all bad. And Rob came over at like 2:00 in the morning and sat outside and just talked to me. Like talked to me about like everything that was going on in my head. Like, and from that, I mean, that was like the turning point in our friendship. Like when I realized, not that I'm this drop dead gorgeous girl, but like normally when I'm friends with guys in relationships, they turn into fucking creeps. You know, it either goes one of two ways. They turn into weirdos and they want to have sex with me, and then the second I'm like, it's not going to happen, all of a sudden they forget I exist. You know, or like
Friendship.
they get a girlfriend and I no longer exist. That was never the case with Rob, and like he was a constant. He showed up no matter what. He was my friend. He kept it completely real with me when I was thinking things or being a psychopath. He would tell me like, you're being a bit of a psychopath, but I'm going to listen to you and then tell you why I think you're being a psychopath. You know, and it was always this healthy boundary between us. It was like there was no ulterior motives. And like I just had a real friend. Like I could be my complete psychopathic, my own crazy self, and he would just accept me. There was never any judgment. Like, and if there was never judgment, like sometimes you egg me on a little bit. I'm going to tell this story. So when we went to California, we drove down there.
That's
No,
Washington.
no, that was Washington. Okay, when we flew to California, we spent a lot of time in the car, like a lot of time in the car. And I think maybe we were getting like
Sick of each other.
a little bit. Not really sick of
I
each
wasn't.
other, but I think I was getting
Just
on
say
his
it.
nerves. I felt like I was getting on his nerves and I was like getting touchy. And I picked up his phone to scan this thing at the restaurant, right? Because he couldn't figure out how to scan it. And I pulled the thing down and I read 2 sentences from someone. Not intentionally. I was not intentionally trying to read it. But I thought that he was talking about me, and I got super in my feelings. And for like the whole day, I was like super quiet. I was like, "What in the fuck?" Like Rob of all people.
I got about
like,
20 messages about it.
I was like so in my feelings. I was crushed. Like, what in the fuck? I never expected this from him.
Hey, I didn't hear about this for a week.
10 days. 10 days it took me to be like, my feelings were really hurt. It's like the only friend I've ever been able to come to like that and be like, my feelings were really hurt. And he like went back through his messages like, what in the fuck are you talking about? Like, what in the shit is wrong with you, Samantha? And like showed me and he's like, is this what you're talking about? Like, yeah, this was not about you. And I felt like the biggest ass, but we bounced back from it. Guys, like, I cannot believe how silly I was. But just like that friendship that I have with him, you know, another really good example is like when I hit my 5-year mark, I went through this phase where I was like, I don't need to go to meetings every day. I don't need to be involved. You know, I stopped going to meetings for 8 months when, you know, like when COVID first hit, I was gone from the meetings. And I'll say 90% of people sat and talked and like, oh, Samantha relapsed, you know, like she's doing bad, she's doing this. There were maybe 2 people and the one constant was Rob that would call me and be like, get your ass to a meeting. Go do something. Like, what are you doing? Come to a meeting. There's a meeting at 2218 tonight. There's a meeting here. There's this meeting there. Constantly, like to me, that the loyalty and the love that I get from Rob is like, you know, like the
real.
friendship is amazing, and he knows that I adore him because of it, you know. And we co-parent a dog together. You know, sometimes I don't even think she's my fucking dog, but
I love that little girl.
Serenity.
you know, I'm
You know
just
what?
grateful
And
for him.
with Rob, I can tell this much. It's like a story like that, and he is a friend because he's never repeated that to me. Like, and we talk like that's. It's not like, oh, he airs out people's business. Like, he is a good friend. He's a real friend. You know, if you're going to tell him something, more than likely it's going to be something you just tell him. Like, a lot of people, you don't, for myself, like, I have friends. You can't see the air quotes, but I have friends. And, like, I know better than to air out all my business with certain people. Mm-hmm. Like, is that really a friend? Like, you should be able to, if you have a friend, you should be able to tell them whatever you want to tell them and know that it's safe. It's like an anonymity thing.
Well, I know for me, like there's been times where I have said something. I'm not perfect, you know what I mean? But I remember I was having a conversation with a sponsee of mine, and I accidentally said aired out somebody's something about somebody that they probably didn't want shared, and I'm like, oh man, you know what I mean? I felt so terrible about that because that's not something I ever really practice, you know. But like, I just wanted to, to say that like I'm not perfect and like, and I've done that, but you know, a majority for the most part, you know, I really try to just have respect of people and their stuff, and not everybody's the same. I mean, like me personally, like I don't care if somebody's talking about me and I'm not there. I really don't. You know what I mean? Like, and like.
I do.
I know you do. I was getting to that too. Like yeah, if you're gonna do that, I would strongly recommend not to do that around Sam.
Not at all.
But I mean, like, but some people are just totally different, you know. Like they're just everything's private, and you know everybody's different, you know. But I mean, like me personally, I don't mind. I'm like whatever, because like you know at this stage of my recovery. In the 5 years I've been clean, I've heard a lot of things about myself. You know what I mean? And like a lot of them are just hilarious because a lot of them aren't true. But it's also like sick people saying sick things. You know, so like
right.
what and like the thing is too is that like I said, I'm not perfect. I have flaws. You know, I've done things in my recovery that aren't very recovery oriented. You know, and I just wanted to clarify that I'm not no friggin' saint. You know what I mean? But like. I am just trying to be a better person than I was the day before. You know, some cliche recovery stuff there.
Hurt people.
Yeah, most definitely. You know, and here's the thing with that is like, you know, like I don't really have a lot of friends that like I call. You know, I probably talk to you two more than I talk to almost anybody. You know, maybe even more than the dog. You know what I mean?
But you know what? That's what's unfortunate. Friends come and go. It seems like in recovery, I've had such.
Yeah.
But like since I mean, since we've known each other, I guess more so since COVID, I've been closer with you. But like everything Samantha said about you, it's like there's no question in my mind. Like, yeah, I know that's all like real talk because I know Rob. Like, and enough of our listeners have heard people talk about you, and you don't care what people say about you because there's nothing bad to say really much anymore. You know, maybe the old Rob.
Oh yeah, yeah,
I
most
mean,
definitely.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
most definitely, man.
of course, no one likes to know people are talking about them behind their back or something nasty. It's just a shitty feeling. But I think about, like, on the other hand, like, she was bringing up, you know, how you were like, for 10 days, you were sure, like, the story you told yourself. Like, we had a guest on here, the guy who runs the 4-Step Workshop, Rick was on the show, Rick and Jesse, like, he told a story almost identical to that. Like, he was sure this dude took his money. They were drinking whatever one night, woke up the next day, money's gone. He was looking for this dude for like 5 months. He was going to kill him. The money was there. Dude, so the story he had told him, you saw the message. You knew what was written. The story your head tells you sometimes, like, we let that shit run wild without getting put in check. It's just
us addicts have a hell of an imagination,
and
that's
that's what it is.
Yeah.
Like the story, like our feelings are validated by the stories we tell ourselves. And then all
Right.
of a sudden, we were 1,000% sure. For 10 days, you let that go, and then you come to find out, like,
that was ridiculous.
but like you can't kick yourself over. But then a good friend's gonna be like, "Girl, it's not a big deal. Like, this is the shit we learn in recovery."
Hey, I just,
And look at you're
I was-
laughing about.
I was like, what are you talking about? I was like,
Could
and
you
then
tell for 10 days she was like, kind of?
No, man. I mean, like, I was kind of like, well, what's your deal, man? I thought she was mad at her son because her son came with on the vacation. I thought she was mad at him on that day, and I was like, oh, okay. I didn't think nothing of it. You know what I mean? And we went through this whole vacation because this wasn't on like the last day of our vacation.
Oh,
this
boy.
was on like our second day.
Oh, boy.
You know what I
No,
mean?
I'd say
And-
day
Samantha.
four.
Yeah.
Day 4, yeah. You guys were down
It was
there.
the
Yeah,
fourth
you know
day.
what I mean, and I didn't hear about it until like that next Thursday, and I was like, what? So I was like, and I'm trying to think about well, what the fuck? I mean, because like if somebody's feelings are hurt, I got to think about it. It's like, well, fuck, did I? Is there anything that I? And I'm like, I don't think so. You know what I'm saying? And I'm looking through, and I'm like, what do you? Oh, maybe this is what she's talking about.
Melinda thought it was
I
pretty
talked to
funny.
Melinda about it.
Oh.
I did. I said, what am I supposed to do? My feelings were crushed. I think I was
Yeah.
like in tears. If Melinda can, I was like really upset
You
about
were
it.
when you came back. You
I
actually
was like-
talked
Bad.
about it 'cause
I
you
was-
felt-
I would be too, but
I was upset,
yeah.
and then
you were like,
yeah.
this is one guy that would never do it, and then as soon as you actually talk to him about it, you find out he didn't.
Yeah, I was like,
Yeah.
I am
Yeah, I thought
the
it was
biggest
hilarious. I was like, what?
asshat ever. Yeah.
I was
Well,
like,
it
what are
just
you talking
validates what
about?
you do know about him. Like, it validates you know he's not this creep.
Well, I mean, here's another thing too: is that like maybe there's just a part of you that
It's
thinks that like there's no way that there could be a guy that could actually be this good of friends without being
Right.
that way. Maybe there's part of
For
you that's
sure.
because you're so used to that.
Yeah, our
You know what I
paths
mean? You're so
do
used
that.
to that. You know, like it's pretty simple. Whenever somebody sets a boundary with me, I'm like, oh, okay, sounds good. You know, and that doesn't work with everybody. You know what I mean? Like it doesn't. Like sometimes, man, you gotta set boundaries, and people just they habitually try to push that envelope. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And it's like, man, I can't stand that, man.
Right.
You know, like I just, it just fucking gets me, man. You know what I mean? But it's just like if you tell somebody, hey, man, I don't like it when you do this. Can you please not?
It's hard to do sometimes, though.
Right,
Like,
because me, man, I fuck around a lot, Like I kid.
I play, I
You
do.
know what I mean? Like,
but you
it-
tell me that's why you like me. Is that dumb shit I do? But like what you're saying, it's hard. Like there's certain people who tell me what you're saying, like, but it kind of hurts to hear that from someone like Tim. I'm like Bob, who was gonna be on. Like he'll be on more. He's having the bonfire. He's good at calling me on that type of shit, but it's uncomfortable and it hurts when someone tells you like, Tim, what you're doing, I don't like that.
right.
It hurts.
Well, because instantly we want to take to the defense on it.
Right.
And
But
then,
it's out of love.
another thing is too is that it does depend on how you express your feelings. If you're like, hey man, I don't you do this. What the fuck are you doing, man? You know what I mean? But when it's like, hey bro, like when you do this, like what's that what do they call that the
Filler.
dialogue that like I feel Or when you do this,
yes,
I
yes,
feel, and it makes me feel whatever that is, a
We
dialectical.
did that in
They're
the
called I
outpatient.
statements.
I statement.
Yeah. Exactly, man. So like when people come at you with that, I mean, it's kind of hard to get mad there too. But you know, I don't know.
On the other hand, though, like that, Rob is the one friend like I feel like I can do that with. Like I can pull him off to the side when he's having a shitty attitude, and I'm like, hey, like something's fucking going on, dude.
Right.
And like most people, he'll tell him to fuck off. You know, like maybe not in those words, sometimes exactly in those words. And
yeah,
like
probably exactly in those words.
I can pull him aside and be like, you're doing this right now, and there's not a lot of people that I can do that with and feel comfortable enough to be like, I'm worried about you. Like, what's going on? Talk to me. And like, if I'm being completely honest, there's not a lot of people I care enough to pull off to
Right.
the side and be like, I fucking care. Like, something's going on. Talk to me. Like, what is it?
To even give it the effort.
To like even, but that's because that's like that matched respect, like that matched love. It's given to me, and like that's another thing that I've learned in recovery. Like, I can't give that shit to everybody because I'd be fucking drained.
Empty.
Right.
You know, I would be completely wiped out. And like
Right.
another part of like that's what I really respect about our friendship is when I tell him something, he'll listen, he'll take it into account. Like he'll really think about it, not just like, you know, the half-ass like, oh yeah, I hear you. Like it legitimately.
And let me talk
hurt.
about me a little more. You know, like a lot of people do. And that's another thing that I try not to
I
do.
do this shit all the
is I
time.
try not to make everything about me. You know, and then I try to actively listen. And that's not something I do perfectly. I will be the first
have
to
to
say
work
that.
at it.
It is. It is very hard to like to actively listen. You know, like it's like just straight listen, not listen and wait for what you're gonna say, not listen and make it about you, but just to listen and to actually filter everything that the person that's trying to communicate with you is saying. That is it takes a lot of practice because we get so self-absorbed, and a lot of times our mind are in so many different places that like just to sit and actually listen to somebody is just like, you know, it's not something that's like very easily you know, attainable. You know. What do you
Yeah,
think?
no, I agree with you. Listen, I do. I got called out already on the show tonight
yeah, it's official. You're
for
doing it in a
interrupting.
second.
Like
Yeah.
I do that shit all the time.
Right.
I know
Rob
I
does
do.
it too.
Yeah, but it is.
Oh yeah, I'll interrupt. Yeah, I do that because
a
my
good
attention
habit,
span
though.
is like a half a second, dude. I have an attention span of a 6-year-old. You know.
We used to be told that in early recovery, like there'd be people that would talk about, you know, exactly what Rob just said. Like, are you responding because you were not even listening to what the person before you was saying, and you're just waiting to speak because all that matters is what you have to say? Like, if you really think about that statement, that's real selfish and unhealthy. Like, and I do that a lot. I catch myself still doing that, like waiting for my turn to
Yeah.
speak.
Right.
Like at a meeting, like I'm not hearing the 13 people before me that just shared some profound shit that I could have
Right.
grown so much, got something out of, but instead I'm worried about, all right, what am I going to say? Well, I got to talk. I'm going to like that's a habit. Like I had to. Matter of fact, CJ, he's the one who like broke me of that, like at year 2. Like he just the way he said it, he's like, are you here to even hear anybody? Like, do you even want to hear? Like, this thing is it's a fellowship. Like we do this thing together. Like it's strength in numbers. Like the way he worded it, you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, definitely.
Like the way he worded it, it just clicked for me. Like if you really do listen, like you're saying, like just listen. Like you're gonna get so much more out of this, and it's free. Like that's what trips me out sometimes. Free. Think about how much you get out of these meetings, and it's people pay thousands of dollars to go to psychiatrists and therapists and all this shit that we get for free for going to a meeting if you listen. Like it's out there. What time we got?
Time to keep going.
10:10.
10, 220.
We still talking friendships.
Yeah.
We could use some questions on it.
Well, it's the second half, so I mean, typically, you know.
I'd just like to talk about fishing, but
Fish.
Love fishing.
Fish.
But we can't always talk about fishing, although I was just at, no, that's not about the show. So, you know what? I want to plug 2218 again. I think our Cheryl and Scott will be back on the show. We had technical difficulties the first time they were supposed to be on, but 2218, it's the place we're at right now. It's the place that holds meetings. We got the Ride for Recovery coming up. There's so many activities, and she posted quite a few links. I'm going to ask for Elena to also put that link back up she did. If you're able to donate, that goes to the club. It's like this place is monumental in my recovery. It's a place that you can come to for recovery. There's volunteer openings. this club runs off volunteers. So if you have the time and you're able to come down, volunteer to your time. If you're not able to volunteer or donate money, come down and give some time. Like, it's welcomed. There's plenty to do around here. Like, this place has helped me stay clean and sober. Like, and I know I'm in a room full of people where it's done the same for them. There's meetings here. It's 24. Well, I can't say that yet. There is all day, you know, from early morning till the evening. There's meetings every day here, and that's because 2218 doesn't close their doors. And if you're able to, just donate, and it's greatly appreciated.
So, I don't know. I guess there's some more things that I would like to talk about along the lines of like friendship and stuff like that. Like, I guess I guess I'm not really the host, but like, what are some things that we've all been able to do as far as being friends with somebody, you know? I know for me, like, setting boundaries on friendships, like, because I never had any, you know what I'm saying? It was always like, yeah, you can sleep on my floor, man. Yeah, man, I'll get you a sack. Yeah, I'll get you this, I'll get you that. Yeah, I'll hold on to this, you know, no big deal. Now, you know, I could go to friggin' prison, you know, if I get caught with it, but yeah, sure, I had no boundaries. There was no limits to what I was willing to do for like so-called friends, you know? But now it's like, man, I've learned how to set boundaries and like, no, you can't live at my house. You know what I mean? Like, no, I'm not going to come out of my pockets just so you can thrive on my kindness, you know, and mistake it for weakness, you know? And the thing is, too, is that like, I don't know, man, I'll tell you this, man, like not everybody in recovery is my friend.
No.
You know what I'm saying? I'll say that right now, man. And some of the stuff that I've heard about me came from people that I never expected. You know what I'm saying?
You mean for the good or bad?
The bad. The
Oh,
bad,
yeah.
man. Some of the stuff I've heard about me, man, came from some people that, like, I never would have expected, man.
Right.
You know, and that hurts my feelings.
And it hurts, yeah.
But,
Of course.
you know, all that tells me is that, like, God just removing somebody else out of my life that wasn't supposed to be there in the first place.
That's
you know,
right.
and not everybody that comes up in your face is actually your friend, that says they're your friend. You know, a lot of times, man, some things come out sideways, especially, you know, in some circles, you know what I mean, and it's not like, oh, hey, yeah, you're my friend. Really, you know, a lot of times, man, people want to keep you close just to see what you're doing. You know what I'm saying, and that's sick. You know what I mean?
It's sad. It's
Very
it's
big
sad.
time. You know,
that can lead you down a terrible.
because I'll tell you what, man. You know, even if I don't like you, man, I want to see you just, you know, thrive in this life. You know, I think, you know, good things should happen to, you know, damn near everybody. You know what I mean? But that's just the thing. Not everybody wants to see you doing good, you know? Because, like, how can I expect good for me if I don't want good for anybody else?
That's what I've gotten. That's what I've gotten out of you. Like, that's what I've gotten from you.
And it's been work, man. And I'm not saying that, like, you know, like, that you could just bring. I mean, there's a couple people you could probably bring up that I probably would fail at what I just said. You know what I mean? So, like, I will be the first to admit that. But for the most part, you know, like 98%, you know, like, I mean, even if I don't fuck with you, I'll fuck with you, man. I want to see you get that job that you want. I want to see you, you know, go get that degree. I want to see you buy that house, man, because, like, I know that, like, if you're in this walk of life right now, I know you didn't have it easy. I know you came from hell. And I don't care if I like you or not. I know where you came from because I came from the same place, man. You know what I'm saying? And I want to see people doing good, living good, because we came from hell. You know what I'm saying? So, like, just to see somebody shine, man, that's good. Even if I don't care for you that much, I still want to see you do good.
I think
you
about
know?
this, like, what you're saying. We had a question about spiritually fit. Like, when there's times, like, when I'm sitting here not hating on people, but when there's times, like, I've got ill will towards people. Like,
Right.
I'm not spiritually fit. I know there's something that needs to change. Like, you're saying someone that, you know, you might not even care about them, but they're in this thing of recovery. You still want to see them do good.
Yeah.
Like, that's healthy.
Right.
Like, that didn't come overnight. You didn't walk into this program.
No, hell no,
hoping
man.
everyone was doing good.
Hell no, man. No, I didn't walk in here like that.
I'm just saying, like, I still not struggle like I may have, but I can tell somewhere along the line, someone brought that up. Like, I can tell when I'm just getting short fused with people, ornery people, like, something with me has to change.
Right.
Like, there's something I'm not doing that's keeping me I'm spiritually on low. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, there's something I need to do because there's no reason to be that like, not so what are y'all out?
Almost.
Almost out of
Got
the
two
toys.
left.
But that's something that me personally, I can tell. Like when I'm crabby, let's just say crabby, and there's no reason. Like something's got to change, and if it's constant, not because I read a dirty text message on someone's phone either. Like without a reason. No, but
Alleged.
you know what I'm saying? Like if there's no reason, like that'll happen sometimes. Like I get, for me personally, it can go a day or two, and like I got nasty raw feelings for no reason.
Oh yeah, I get them too.
You have to reach out, or me personally, I have to reach out.
I had him today, man. I had him today.
And what would you do? Like, what do you do to get through that, or how do you even deal with that?
I really struggle with that. Like, I will find myself getting annoyed with little things, like when we're in the meetings, like simple little things. You know, like someone saying, introducing themselves, long-term recovery, and I will get so mad. Like, bro, you haven't even been clean a year. Like, what are you talking about? Like, little things will just agitate me, and I'm like, and I find myself getting really annoyed, and then I'm like,
why do I even come to these meetings?
yeah, I guess, like, you know, like
that's your disease working its way with
I,
you.
Yeah,
you know?
and when I was in boot camp, my instructor would always tell us, like, those are sandpaper people. Those are the people that you need to learn from. Like, as hard as they are to be around people, like they're like sandpaper with you because there's something from them that you need to get. There's something in you that you need to fix because that's what you see in that person that you dislike. And as much as I hate hearing that, like, there's something I do
Right.
that pisses other people off. Something I say, you know, I don't talk a whole lot in meetings. Like, I'm really big on listening. Like, I really like to hear what other people have to say. And sometimes it's just like, I don't feel like what I have to say is that important. What I have to gain from these meetings is. But, like, when I, you know, hearing some of those people, I'm just like, oh, how could I?
Hey, she's got her fist clenched right now.
like,
I just want to share that with everybody. I love it. She's over here just.
Do you think that's something that you personally like when these things, like someone saying, that's the example you gave. So someone like long-term recovery, and you know they only got 8 months. Like, do you feel that is personally something with you?
Yeah.
That, like, there's something about yourself. You don't believe in that?
I don't
whole
see
thing?
it.
No.
I don't see it though. I know, but there is something that you need to learn from, and I see that.
Yeah.
But I don't see you as like going to the meeting like, "Hey, I'm in long-term recovery."
But a lot of people will say that, like, when someone else is pissing you off, it's the reason they're pissing you off is because it's something about yourself that you're really upset about. Like,
Yeah.
I've heard that saying. Like, that's kind of what you're saying too. It's like,
Absolutely. Or, like, sometimes it could be, like, someone that, like, you know, somebody will remind you of someone that just agitates your soul, you know, and you're like, oh, I don't like that person all the time. When I first met Elena, actually, the first time, no, not the first, when I first met her, the first time I gave Elena clean time. Do you remember this, Elena?
Programmer
I got
of
up
honesty.
and I said, I didn't like you when I met you. That was the
She did.
first thing out of my mouth that I said to her. I was like, I didn't like you. But it was when I sat and listened to her more and more, I was like, it is because you are a strong woman, and it's intimidating as another strong woman. Like, to have another alpha female around,
woo.
like it was like intimidating. And so in my head, I'm just like, oh, I don't like her. Like, I don't like how much she talks. Everything that I could think of bothered me about her
But it
until
was
like I
a
opened up.
reflection.
But it was a reflection. Like, that strong personality rubbed me the wrong way because I was intimidated because she was working a program that I wasn't. Even though I have a few more days, Elena was working a solid program.
Right.
I had just gotten out of prison and I was doing what I had to do because of ISR.
right.
You know, so like I can see that with her. Other people, I wouldn't say I've gotten to that point yet where I'm like, whatever this is about me, I don't like, but I can definitely see that I'm not there in my recovery yet where I can love everybody in the rooms because some people I'm just like, I just want to like punch them in the throat when they say something. Like,
Still today.
Still today, I'm like, if you punch them in the throat, you can't talk if you
I
can't
love
breathe.
that shit. Punch him in the throat.
I'm not allowed to throw punch people.
Yeah, and I have to. There's something I have to work on through that. But I get what you're saying about those sandpaper people. It doesn't matter how much clean time I have. Like, some people, I want them to stay sober. I absolutely want them to stay in the room. But I'm like, you do not have long-term recovery. A friend of mine just told me in the AA Big Book, it says 2 years. NA, we start saying long-term recovery at 5 to 7. I don't say I have long-term recovery because the second I start saying I got this or I'm in long-term
You're in
recovery,
trouble.
I'm writing myself a check to go out and relapse. So that's just my opinion, and that's what I have to say on that whole sandpaper people. I'm learning. I'm getting there. I'm eventually I'll get there where I like most people.
My thing's the same as always. Is like, and I want to hear your thoughts on it, Brandon. But like, I have the same problem. And I've shared about it all the time. I forget. I forget these things we've talked about. Like when someone's irritating me, I forget to even apply any of this shit. Like right now, we're talking about like why are they irritating me? Is it really something like I was just in Vegas. Like someone I was around, it was just getting under my skin how they're acting. Like now I look back on it. Is that because when I was used to be fucked up, like I would act that way, and that's why I was so irritated with it?
It's just Vegas.
But yeah, but like I was a heroin junkie. So these guys went to Fremont Street, and I was like, I can't do it. Like I've heard what goes down. Like nowadays, Fremont. I've been to the Fremont experience. It wasn't that bad then, but I've heard now people are out there shooting dope and doing and sure shit. When my brother came back, like one dude was ODing, one dude had a needle out his arm. Like that was not the time. Like that was the night I went to meetings. Like. It just happened to be like that was the night shit was able to happen where I had split from the group, but like that was a good choice I made not to go to Fremont Street. But
yeah, it was.
Like I think about when I get that irritated, I still don't like the first thoughts aren't okay. What have I learned? What can I grow from this, or how can I make it through this with a good experience? Like without walking away like I still want to throat punch that motherfucker.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
You and me both.
Like, so you're telling me after 5 years I'm gonna still deal with the shit?
She still deals with it every day.
Great.
Oh yeah.
So how do you deal with shit like that? Like I'm sure things irritated you. Talk to me, Brandon. Come on.
That's the biggest thing. I'm just like you guys. I'm still learning to deal with it. I don't have the proper ways to deal with it. I still get agitated. I don't want to listen to the people speak, and that's when I do pick up my phone. That's when I do space out and not listen. Mm-hmm. And those are just excuses in my own head to get rid of those thoughts, to try to deter myself from acting out or saying what I want to say.
Right.
But that's something I'm definitely still learning.
Cool. Shit, that's how you do it. So once we see you pick your phone up, we know you're irritated. All right.
That's not what I was just doing, Rob. I was reading comments for us.
Yeah, okay, bud.
Channy, Rob, Jacob, Joel, Melinda. We got like just shout
Love you,
outs to
Melindy.
tons of people.
Congratulations again.
Katie, just
What's up?
My nail lady's on there.
my boy
she really?
Ron, my fishing partner's on. May not eat them at the same table, but I still want to see you eat. Oh, wow. That's coming from a different conversation.
Oh.
I'm just trying to give shout out to Lena. Thanks for being on. Everyone's sending questions. Jerome's on. What up,
Hams?
Jerome? Samantha. We got a lot of people popping in, and we appreciate you. The show is interactive, so send some questions in. What was the other part of your topic?
So I want to tell you about, so you know how you were talking about when you went to Vegas and you knew something, like it was just, for me, Vegas was not a good experience. I'm so glad we only spent one night there. I did
Yeah,
not.
so about
I
that.
did not.
About that.
But when we were in Cali, so we got to Cali and I had this negative cloud over me from the time we left Vegas and
From
we got
Vegas?
to Cali. It wasn't the first night, but we were only in Vegas for a few hours. But when I got to Cali, I started having these little thoughts in my head, and I think it was brought with from Minnesota, but because we were so far away, I started seeing all these places we had stopped, damn, that margarita looks good. Damn, look at how big that
You
beer
started
is.
obsessing?
And I'd say it out loud to Rob. I'm like, damn, that looks really good. That beer looks good. And luckily I have a friend like Rob, because he's like, I think we need to find a meeting.
No. Here's what happened. She's like, well, what are we gonna do? What are we gonna do next? I was like, we should go to a meeting.
Yeah. It was nuts how much that
well, because
obsession
in the
my head.
in the morning when I went to go get my lozenges, which I no longer use anymore, over at CVS, I noticed that bottom shelf vodka, and it really was
you
appealing to
shared
me.
about-
yeah, that $13.75 for a 175. I was like, wow. I could get pretty trash, and then I started looking at the beach, and I was like, man, I would love to just be a beach bum. You know what I mean? Honestly,
did say that.
You
know?
started thinking
Yeah.
about it though. You really
Oh,
started.
dude, I
thinking about it.
was totally entertaining that idea. That sounds amazing. Just hanging out on the beach, getting drunk all day. You know what I mean? But I know that the thought and the reality are two different things.
Right.
And it was cool because we got to go to this meeting that was on a hilltop, or it was
What state was that?
it was in San Diego, California. Yeah, and down there they have
They offered everyone apples at an NA meeting. It was kind of
Right, yeah. We ain't got no teeth for that shit, man. Get the fucking apples away from me, man. That shit pissed me off, man. Them fucking apples, man. But no, it was like it was real cool, man. It was out in the park because like in California, man, their COVID numbers were really high. So it was a total different experience to go down there too. And like, they wanted you to wear your mask outside, and I thought that was the most ridiculous shit ever.
At the outdoor mall.
Yeah, man. It was like,
mask.
I was pissed. I was like, are you serious, man? But like, I mean,
they wanted you wearing your mask.
yeah, they wanted you to wear it outside.
They're like that mutated corona shit, don't they?
They
What?
wouldn't even
This
let
was
you go
before
through a
that.
drive-through without wearing your mask.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, it was ridiculous.
Everybody has mutated phones.
Yeah.
Yeah. But Vegas was terrible. That was the worst part of the trip for me. Vegas.
So you
I was
400
very
down.
angry.
Yeah, 400.
400 down in a matter of
Hey,
a few
so
hours.
about that, man, it was like we got to the hotel, right? And she's like, "Well, we don't have to go gamble." I was like, "All right, well, let's not then." And then she's like, "All right, well, I'm gonna go gamble." And I was like,
just throw
"Fine."
20 bucks
I
in.
was like, "Fine, I'll go with you." So then like, I go. I guess I'm not much of a gambler. I've never really been very good at it. So we sit down on these machines, man, and she wins a couple of bucks. It goes up, it goes down, and then I'm up like $400, from $20, $500. And she just sat there and just watched me lose like $300.
great
just
friend.
watched me use. No, man. Yeah, no,
She's very bad at that.
she said, yeah, well, my machine's not paying out anymore. I said, oh, okay. And then you just let me go down to $200 and so realistically, I won $6 and Samantha lost a couple dollars and she was not very happy about that.
Overall, it was a wonderful trip.
Yeah, it
Those
was-
little things that we get to experience. So, like those things in recovery, like those goals. I never thought 6 years ago I'd be taking a trip every other month,
Right.
with my best friend.
Right.
Dying in Idaho and
Yeah.
getting to go support a friend in Washington and reminding him that he's
Right.
still loved. That was our whole point to going out to Washington.
Right.
You're not
to
alone.
show another addict. Yeah.
You're not alone. And it was actually Washington was super cool.
I loved it.
The ocean out there was it was really cool.
The
It
shithole.
attacked you kind of.
Yeah.
It was very different.
Right.
And California was beautiful.
Right.
All those things that we got to do, those are things that I never in a million years thought I would be doing.
Right.
When I was in prison, my goal was just get out and be able to take my son camping or be a
Right,
mom.
right.
Yeah.
I didn't think that I'd get out and within 2 years be taking my kid to Cali and longboarding. Well, they went longboarding. I sat on the beach, but buying my kid a longboard and watching him see the ocean and going sightseeing. Our favorite part, his favorite part in Washington was going to what was that, Ted Bundy's house?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We went to the wrong house,
to the wrong
and we took a
murderer's
picture in front of somebody's house at 10 o'clock at night.
it
man.
wasn't the
It was
murderer's
dark.
house?
Yeah, we went to the wrong house. We're like, yeah, Ted Bundy.
I was like, it feels so creepy. And then we look it up.
It's not even the
and
right
it was
house.
the right
That's a
house.
better story even. Like we got the wrong
That was
picture
great.
of the wrong house.
Yeah. I was all
No,
excited
that's
too.
awesome though.
Oh, I love
you're
it. Oh,
talking about
Jerome.
being in jail. Yeah,
Oh,
Jerome said he's
Jerome.
never gambling with
Oh,
you guys again.
I remember that.
I heard that, and I feel partly guilty. I think I egged that trip on. I was like, we were supposed to go to the casino the night before. I was like, well, why don't you go tonight? I'm game. And you guys are like, yeah. I was like, all right, well, I gotta go.
Yeah, you
And
didn't
you
even
guys
go.
smashed off. So you know what? You were talking about seeing these margaritas that look good. You're talking about drinking a fifth of some $8 booze.
Whoa.
All right, $13.
Yeah, a
All right.
175 a
So,
handle.
Jacob, and it's good to hear from you again, Jacob. He had a good question about that. Do you feel that entertaining those thoughts could resurface in other ways? I know you guys were holding each other accountable. Okay, that. A lot of times we don't have that. Those type of thoughts. If you sit and I guess you didn't relapse over it, but to sit and have those thoughts and let them go to the wayside and not talk about them, I guess is kind of what we're thinking. Do you think they could start resurfacing in other ways, and if so, how?
Well, yeah, we're never healed.
Absolutely.
Never. That's another pet peeve of mine when people are like, I don't have these thoughts anymore. Congratulations
recovered.
for
Yeah,
you.
yeah, right. Yeah,
Congratulations
recovered.
for you.
Yeah, recovered. Yeah.
Yeah,
But,
recovered.
I bet you
think-
that feels
yeah.
real nice. You.
But I think they resurface no matter what.
Right.
Your addict is always going to be alive.
Right.
For me, it's like going on vacation. It triggered a couple times in Washington, not quite as strong. But in California, I think it was just that setting. It was I'm so far away from home.
Man.
it was just like, oh, I'm not on ISR anymore. My parole officer lets me come see her whenever the hell I want.
Like you could get away with it.
I could get away with it. Like
Right.
And your head tells you that,
yeah,
right?
those are the things that, and I think being in that situation, had I not been there with someone that I know, like, would hold me accountable. And to be completely honest, like, I thought about, like, well, if Rob gets drunk, like, he's probably going to turn into a real piece of shit. And I don't want to fucking deal with that. Like,
Oh, yeah.
he's going to take the rental car. There's going to be a hooker in the room. Like, these are the things that played in my head.
Eye candy don't need
things,
a hooker.
Hey, these things are probably all true as well. I just
no,
wanna,
eye candy don't buy hookers. They just
drunk eye candy would.
okay.
You know,
Yeah.
Drunk eye
There's no
And-
telling
yeah.
that. And I'm a psychopath when I drink. So
So, like, yeah, I think those thoughts will
you
resurface
definitely wouldn't have had
throughout.
fun. Yeah.
Yeah, and that, luckily, like, those
We
are the
probably
things
wouldn't
I
be
had.
friends anymore. You know what I mean?
I would have got left. I would have, the rental car would have been,
Yeah, I got a DUI in the rental car.
would have been bad.
So like Brandon, with,
Burnt holes in it
being
with
like the
crack rocks.
the freshest here, and like not like you
fresh fish.
like what? And this I'm always curious about this, and if it's uncomfortable, you don't have to answer shit. But like, what had
I'm the host. I don't want to answer
Listen,
nothing.
I think that we're supposed to step out of our uncomfortability boundaries.
boom? Then what was the reason you relapsed? Can you pinpoint it?
I told myself I was fine. I told myself I was one of those that had recovered. I was clean off meth for 3.5, 4 years. And I was like, well, I can have a drink tonight. I can go out to dinner and have a drink. Turns into then I use it as an excuse. Well, I can't sleep tonight. Why don't I go have a drink? And that's why I did it. I told myself I could. And then it turned into every single night I was drinking, and I couldn't control it.
So like the last paragraph of how it works in one of the fellowships where it says thinking of alcohol is not a drug
Exactly.
has led a great many of us
It's
addicts to
legal. Why
relapse.
not? It's legal. Why not?
Right.
That's what I was telling myself.
So did you end up just drinking? Like Joel said the same. Like at 5 years, like those thoughts just got like started telling himself the wrong thing. Like we started because I'm always curious to just like what do you know the reason why? And you're like you thought you were recovered. Is
Yeah.
that what it was? And you
I-
go back to being a normie?
I guess I can't say I thought I knew the right reason. I told myself I did. I told myself I knew I thought I was a normal person. I thought I could handle it.
No, and what's normal? I hate
That's
hate
what
to
you
say
call
that.
it.
Setting
to
on a
others.
dryer.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to say normal, but like that normie word people say, and I don't mean to say that because fuck, what's normal, man?
Well, everybody has their vices.
Yeah,
You're
Shit.
definitely not normal. You're in a relationship.
I don't have
with
any
me.
vices. What are you talking about?
No, none. No three tobacco products.
Yeah. No, shit.
No, yeah. I just told myself I had it. I could handle that one drink at dinner.
Right.
I could handle it once a week at dinner. I could handle it every night.
and then from there just
Yep. It didn't lead me back to my old ways. I didn't go back to meth like I did before.
Right.
But eventually it probably would have led to that.
right.
I like to tell myself that that's what would have happened
Of
if I
course.
wouldn't
Well,
have
and
gotten
that's
sober.
and I still tell myself I can use successfully again. I still tell myself
You
I
could be
can.
a successful recreational IV heroin user, correct?
Just on Fridays.
Yeah, just on Fridays.
the weekend.
Yeah.
Weekend warrior.
Yeah, most definitely. That sounds very, very legit.
Well,
yes.
we had a guest who thought that would be the right. Well, you know what? I can't speak for him. He's not here. But yeah, me personally, I wouldn't be able to just, instead of being a full blown junkie, just a junkie on the weekends. Me personally can't.
Well,
because
I mean,
I'm an addict.
if you were using on the, I don't think you'd be a junkie if you could only do it on the weekends.
yeah, but
I don't think it would be you'd just be considered a heroin user. I don't think you'd be considered a junkie. You know what I mean?
Oh, weekends here. time
Yeah,
for some heroin.
yeah. Yeah, let me get my 1 sack a week.
Well, this kind of ties in like earlier. She said Samantha said she had a sponsor. It said after 5 years, you can drink.
Right. And
No.
Yeah, that
was
sounds
the one who
legit.
was in the car, living in the car.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so, our predecessor. I say this every week.
It's a nice car, okay?
It was
No,
not.
it was not.
It was an 86 tempo.
Pretty close.
Like our predecessors put in a grip of work. Like our predecessors did the work for us. We don't have to reinvent the wheel. Like I have to always tell myself this when I start thinking, I think I could try doing it this way or that way. Like there was people that already did this for us. Like it's just written. I need a sponsor to help me go through these steps that our predecessors have set up. Because me personally, I can't just read it and do it myself. That's me. Some people,
Right.
maybe they can. I can't. But then what came from I was friends with the guy I asked to sponsor me. But that was the same thing. Like COVID came and I started feeling too comfortable not going to meetings. And it scared the shit out of me. So I reached out.
Boom.
That's how it works. That was a friend though. And what was my biggest fear about asking Rob to sponsor me was the friendship. Like that's what I said. Like
That judgment piece.
no, it wasn't that. It was that. How did I? You remember we were sitting at Milda's, but I was worried about fucking up the friendship. Like
Yeah.
I don't want it because I don't even know how to word that. How it was like I was hesitant to ask you to be like I was basically telling you like look I need to go through the book. I know this. I need to get into the basic text, but I don't want you to be my sponsor because then we have a sponsor-sponsee relationship, and like to me the friendship couldn't be the way the friendship was. Like I don't know. It's like I don't even know. It was kind of ass backwards. What, your throat hurt, buddy?
No, Samantha's does.
Oh. Whoa. Whoa. Oh no. See,
Whoa.
Elena,
whoa,
that's
whoa,
because you're a dirty.
Whoa,
bird.
whoa.
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 What did I just walk into?
Jerome is
Live
right.
podcast.
That would be tricky to be working at to work in to have to be around it for your job. Like, fortunately, there's not. Well, I don't know. Maybe there is careers where people are doing dope like that, but yeah.
I was a So yeah, I'm in the painters union, and there was a guy that like he sold meth, right? And it turns out that like he knew some of my old friends, and we started talking. He was a good guy, like realistically he wasn't a total sleazeball, at least from what I could see, and there was a day that he pulled out a quarter ounce, and he's like, oh, it's the fire. And then like I took a look at it, and I was like, well, it looks pretty decent stuff, you know what I mean? And then the guy, and then he goes over in this little spare little piece, and he starts hitting the bubble, and the foreman walks in, and he scrambles and he puts it all away, and it was just like, wow, like at work, like methamphetamines is like, dude, that's how much drugs are out and available now. That like you're on a union construction site and you're smoking meth. You know what I'm saying? Like in a $1 million condo. You know what I mean? Like, obviously it wasn't like nobody lived there yet, but still, yeah. And then like, a couple days later he comes back with his tail between his legs. He's like, man, I just wanted to apologize. And I said, man, it's that's on you, man. Like if you're really happy right now, go ahead. That's the way I put it, man.
Right.
Like, because like I could tell he wasn't happy, man. He's only lying to himself if he thought he was. You know what I mean? Because I know for me, man, even if I had that quarter ounce, man, that wouldn't make me happy, man. That shit makes me want to blow my brains out, man.
No, sunshine in a tag, not in a bag.
bag.
Sunshine on a tag, not in a bag. No, you're right. Like I don't know. I get in my head about that all the time. Like I was a heroin junkie, so of course I think, drinking this and that. But I've heard enough. Like other people talk enough. Like and I've read it every single day at a meeting I go to. Like
DWIs are expensive.
yeah. Shit, and you know what? Like I say, alcohol wasn't my problem, but yeah, I've got DWIs, alcohol related. Like I've been
How many?
in trouble. Well, one, but that an alcohol related DWI. Yeah, I've got 3 DWIs. Just one's alcohol related. The other 2 weren't.
And 2 were their fault.
No, 2 were just drugs. They weren't. You still can get a DWI. It doesn't have to be
I know.
alcohol
That's
related.
why I got my last one.
Yeah.
Lucky number 4.
So now I have a breather in my vehicle for a DWI that's not alcohol related, but hey, it's what it is. I get to drive when I have it in my vehicle, which I don't right now.
That's why I Ubered here.
That's why I Ubered here. So more friendship.
I
talk.
did that. My sponsees, yay. You're doing the right thing.
Oh, you're trying to take credit for my Ubering.
Yeah, no.
I made it here with 2 minutes to spare, though. Like, we got, 11 minutes? We can start kind of
21 minutes.
wrapping things down. It's 21 minutes. Well, I was
He's really good at math.
It's coming back to him.
no, if there were dollars, maybe I'd understand it much better.
That's a good one. That's a good, wordsmith. Yeah.
Wordsmith.
I remember that. That was funny. Oh, man. That was my birthday, man. That's crazy. That was how many months ago? 6 months ago.
25 shows
6 months
ago.
ago.
About
Yeah.
25
That was the
weeks
very
ago.
first one, yeah.
Very first. Yeah, we're almost ready for reunion shows. Shit, that's how we're doing. But yeah, so Tad's out playing volleyball. He's at a recovery. Tonight he's at a recovery event. Like as summer's moving forward, the goal with the show was like eventually we'd take it on the road. like a suitcase podcast. We've talked about it, but eventually that will be the goal, is that we can move the show out on the road with us. But we're gonna be like figuring out some I know Tad. I'm not sure if you guys talked about it last week, but like the goal is, we will have guest hosts. Well, because I'm a fisherman, I do a lot of fishing, like weekend trips.
Fish.
And he has a lot of recovery events. Like he's a busy guy in recovery. Like, and now he's got a job. Like he's doing the deal and managing. Like we know his credentials. So there's gonna be a lot of filling in. Samantha, Rob, Brandon, like Elena. Like people step up in recovery. Like I said, I fell short on a job and I reached out to Rob and he's like, dude, and like I think you knew I couldn't ask for help because I was like, yeah.
Yes, I know.
I ended up just sending him the address. He's like, is this your way of asking? Do you want me?
Right, he didn't even ask me. He just sends me the address. That was great. No, because we had a conversation, man, and here's the thing, like it kind of goes back into this like the friendship piece that we know that we're kind of talking about. Is that like like especially like when it's your friend, man, and you're able to help, man, you help them.
Yeah.
You help him, and this is the thing is that I know Tim well enough to know that like he was, he's like, yeah, I'm gonna go to Vegas tonight, man, and I gotta get this job done, you know what I mean? And I'm like, oh yeah, well, what's going on, And he tells me about it, and I'm like, oh, okay, cool, yeah. I said, well, if you need any help, just let me know, we can knock that out pretty quick, because 2 people is better than 1, and I know that especially when it comes to painting, Yeah, so like, no, I'm good, and then we hang up the phone, and like 10 minutes later, he sends me the address, and I'm like, okay, I'm like, is this your way of asking for help?
Did I even call and say yeah? I was
No, you just said yes.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, cool, man, let me shower up, I'll be on my way, But like the thing is that like, I realistically didn't have anything going on that day, so I was like, well, I'll go help.
You help, and you know what? He did it for free. Like I think I offered you some McDonald's or something. No, I wanted to give you some bread, but you didn't want it.
No, I didn't want it,
And I got paid for the job, so it's
Right.
like I'd be happy to pay. He's helped me on other jobs, or I've helped you with some other jobs.
Exactly, and then
Like,
that's why it ain't nothing.
It's
What
what
I'm
we
saying?
do if we're able to.
Right.
That's that friendship piece, that reciprocation. That's how you know you have a healthy friendship.
Right. Yeah. And it's, oh man, a lot of these situationships, or whatever you want to call them nowadays. You know what I mean? It's a whole lot of like one-sidedness, and I guess the thing is too is that like I try not to give without expecting anything.
That's what I was going to go
But the thing is too is that like. I mean, and maybe that's just the thing is that like for me expecting anything from I think reciprocation is key, like in all honesty. But like I know that like let's say that like I know a friend of mine that he has a $13 an hour job. He doesn't make a lot of money, but he's really compassionate about what he does. And like we go out and we go to a meeting and it's after the meeting and it's time to go out to eat and it's like I know he doesn't have the money to go out, but I'd rather see him go out and eat. I'm gonna buy him dinner,
Right, because you
know what I
can.
mean? And I'm not gonna expect him that. It's just that I know his situation and it's like what, I'd rather him come out and fellowship and or whatever, but in regards to like a friend of mine that's like got 6-figure salary or something, that's like, I'm probably going to be less inclined to buy you dinner.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Not that I wouldn't, but like, I would think that like, I don't know, like, I think that like in this life that like, a lot of us are given some things that like other people aren't, and some people are, better off than others and some people aren't,
I was talking to a homeowner today. You know what, Keith? We love you. Thank you. So, like, today, a homeowner, I have a degree. Matter of fact, I have 2. Like, I have a culinary arts degree that I got when I was young, but I know how to cook for myself. See, but I also like I have a construction supervision degree. Like this job, like if I go out into the commercial world, it's $100,000 plus a year job. Like this homeowner today was talking to me, like I can get you in with this company or that company, and that's starting like 110. Like that's good bread. That's real good money. And the work I'm doing at his house, like while he was telling me this, like I was in the midst of being like. I don't know how to word it. It wasn't painting. There's some painting involved, but like I'm finally doing something. Like I'm fortunate enough to be at a point in my life where I can do this financially and it pays well. But like I even told him, I'm like, what I'm doing right now at your house, like I love this. Like I tore out some sheetrock. I'm rebuilding I'm remodeling something. I'm doing some carpentry shit. Like I love it. Like it was weird. It was weird. The sense of accomplishment. That's what I was gonna say to you when you're like, I'm going back to work. Like, I've been not at work for like 5 days now, 6 days since that paint job. And like I get the sense of accomplishment just doing that now. And I enjoy it. Like how do I say, like, yeah, 100 grand a year would be great. But to be miserable doing something, it's not worth it to me. I'll make half that and go do something I'm really enjoying doing. Like that's hard for me to find. That was hard for me to get to that point. Like I got other skills, but I won't be happy. I became a junkie sitting there making phone calls. Like I can't blame it on that job. I'm an addict. I made those choices. But I can't sit at a desk and that's just not what I'm happy doing. I'm happy doing X, Y, Z. And I told this homeowner, he's like, I envy you. Like, and he's a grown, like I say, a grown adult. I'm a grown adult too. I forget that sometimes. But like he's an older adult, older than me. Kids growing up and all that. And he's got, mortgage, like the responsible shit. And he said like, well, I worded something to him about like, so you make like 100 plus. He's a director in the recovery community, like pretty high up. And he's like, yeah, but I hate it. Like, he didn't say I hate it. He's like, yeah, but I'm not as happy doing what I'm doing that you're doing. He's like, stick with what you're doing. If you're happy, do that. If you can afford to pay your bills, do that. Like, you're talking about that type of work. Like, you do get joy out of doing it. You're not completely miserable going to work.
No, I love my job.
There you go. Like, that's your kind
And
of.
I love the company I work for, too.
I was going to say, I kind of relate to that because the job I was at before I decided I was going to go back to school, like, I made really good money where I was at. Like, we were super comfortable. Like, I made really good money, but I was miserable. Like, the owner of the company was a puke. He treated women like shit. Like, all around, I'd come home every day fucking miserable.
Either
And I
miserable
was
or
like,
just almost in tears.
like,
'cause
it was just horrible. And I was like, I cannot do this anymore. When I finally quit, like he made some really sexist, shitty comments to me. And I was like, I'm done. Like, I've built this company from, pulled you out of the red. Like, how dare you? I can't do it anymore. I quit and I was like, I'm going to go back to school. Like, all this shit, this stuff I talked about when I was
like,
in
that
prison.
money meant shit. That meant
It didn't
nothing.
mean nothing.
Right,
Like,
right.
I went back to school and I struggle with that still. Like, I just called Rob the other day. Like, hey, I got an offer to go, work in the union. Like, should I do it? Can I take this on with school and everything else? But like that piece, I really relate to that. Like, I would rather be happy sitting at home. School can be a little challenging at times, but like long term, it's going to be amazing. Like, I'm going to do what I want to do. I want to become a lawyer. Like, I'm going to work my ass off to get to where I want to be. And right now, I'm kind of, we're fine. But like that money, sometimes it feels a little, it seems appealing. Like, that could be nice, go back to making $6,500 a month,
Right.
But the misery piece, like, it's not fucking worth it.
Well, and that's what I always want to bring up. Like, this show, we talk about recovery. Like, in your use, would you have ever been able to make that decision of, all right, I'm going to walk away from $6,500 a month to just go to school? And I mean, you see what I'm saying? Like, you're able to, you can weigh that shit out now and make that responsible decision that, okay, this will be better for me long term. I'm not going to be miserable. Yeah, the money's not here yet, but eventually it'll pay off. Like, you can see to the other side now. And that's because of what? Recovery?
Yeah,
Like,
absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? Like, that's
recovery and having decent people around me.
Right.
Because there's been a few times where I'm like, okay, I'm going to step back into employment. And Rob's like, hey, or Brandon's like, hey, like, you're filling your plate a little too much. Can you focus on school? Can you do this? Can you do that? So yeah, that the money piece, it doesn't seem worth it anymore. And I think it's because of my recovery, like the amount of clean time I have and good friends to put me in check. Like, you're not superwoman. Like, sit down.
well, like in active use, I always think about like the only thing that mattered, and we were talking about friends too. I wanted to try to squeeze that in without interrupting, but I couldn't. So like, like with friends, I hear a lot of people that share about like when they're active use, they would only find friends with something they could get something out of.
Absolutely.
Like, and hearing that now, like I look around because I still have quite a few, I won't even say acquaintances, people in my life that actively drink quite a bit, actively use quite a bit. And like I see the company they keep, and a lot of them they keep that company because they can get something out of them. Like, I try to look back, the last few years of my use, I was alone. Like, the only people I had
Alone in the basement,
The
yeah.
only the basement and the dope man. Like that, my buddy was the dope man. Like we had a fake for friendship. Like I put on some show. Like, yeah, thanks for all this. I'm gonna go sell. Right. I'm gonna go use. But like I didn't have friends. But I try to think back. Is that all I had out of my friendships? But that's probably why I ended up alone in that basement, like Rob says, is because that's all I did was use my friends. Like I used them until they left me. Like nowadays we don't do that. Right, Rob?
Correct.
We're
correct.
trying to all get caught up on everyone checking in. We appreciate you. If we didn't get to your questions,
Rob, message him.
we are sorry. We try to get to everyone's questions and comments, and sometimes it gets tricky. We're running up to 10 minutes. We're gonna do some gratitude. Before we go into gratitude, is there anything that any of you guys want to talk about real quick in the last maybe 2-3 minutes that we didn't touch on?
Friendships and boundaries. No, just kidding.
Oh boy.
Oh,
All right.
I'm just kidding.
Click that mic on. Click that mic on, girl. We're gonna start with you two kids over there. Jeremy, what are you grateful for this week, Jeremy? Talk to me.
Does it work?
Oh, we hear you loud and clear. We got Jeremy in the house. Talk to us. What are you grateful for this week?
I am grateful for having a spiritual connection this week.
That's right.
That's the most gratifying thing in my life right now.
Cool.
So yeah.
Cool. Perfect. Thank you, brother.
He's got a radio
Elena.
voice, so.
Yeah, he does. He's our next Casey Kasem. Casey Kasem. Elena, what are you grateful for this week?
Well, I kind of talked about it in the meeting earlier. I'm grateful that I can still realize that I still have room to grow in recovery. I still have moments where things get to me when they shouldn't, but they do because I hold on to things. And
me too.
I need to learn to let them out as I come across them so that way it doesn't build up so much that a bomb goes off. So
Right. Do you know who that is?
Yeah.
So, thank you for that.
So-
Elena. Tim is right here asking you, Samantha, what are you grateful for this week?
That was nice.
Smooth.
This week I'm really grateful for the connections I've made, for the fellowship that I'm able to have now. There was a time in my recovery when like I said with Elena, I hated a lot of women in the rooms, and I felt like they were super cliquey and they didn't accept me for who I was. And it's not like that anymore. I've realized that it has to be me reaching out as well. So I'm
Right. Two-way.
extremely grateful for the friendships that I've made with the women in the room and not completely shut everybody out. I'm extremely grateful for my friendship with Rob and my relationship with Brandon and him getting clean and finding his way back and getting to know Tim better.
Wow.
Yeah.
I think that's a growth thing, I'll say, because a lot of women still don't like talking to other women in the program.
Haters.
Right.
But now I feel like it's really important to straighten those crowns on other women without doing it in public because we get torn down by these men enough. We need to lift each other up.
That goes two ways there,
It
ladies.
does. It
Okay.
does. There's a lot of
You know how
women
many
that need-
things you have to be as a man, okay?
It's rough talking.
That's 2 more hours that we could easily go into. but-
I will agree that there's the women in this program that do tear men down and are narcissists and treat men like crap.
But usually
However,
it came from somewhere. It came from a place.
Yes. However, a lot
That's
of
true.
women are, expected to be all these things for men, and myself, I was guilty of it. We tear each other down out of jealousy, and it's not something, especially women in long-term recovery, that we should do. We should be straightening those crowns, not broadcasting it for everyone to see, and just do it quietly and remind all of us that we're queens. We've been through enough.
Queens.
That's right.
Tim, what are you grateful for this week?
Huh? That's
Got
a-
him.
That's a real co-host. Got him. Got him. That's that dude. He's so funny. His mouth's all, got him. Okay. So, you know who I'm talking about? That dude, Tosh had him on. He's like, got him. All right. My mommy and my daddy.
Mom.
Mom and my
Mom.
papa. My mama and my papa. I'm really grateful I have family. I'm grateful that you guys stay here for me. This recovery community welcomes me with open arms for who I am. For real.
Awesome.
Like, I go to many places that is not recovery that don't take time to see who I am. Like, if that even makes any sense. Like, this community, for the most part, everyone I've crossed paths with, they're accepting. You don't get that everywhere. You know, you got to fit a certain look or be a certain way. This way, I come here into recovery and I'm Tim. I'm who I want to be.
Tim
I'm me.
with a bunch of M's.
Plus, I'm figuring out who I am during this time of recovery. Like, I'm
Right.
still figuring out who I am, and you guys like are patient with me, and I'm grateful for the recovery community. So, you know what? With that, though,
What are you grateful for, Brandon?
Oh, there you go. I'm actually going to piggyback off Tim's here. I'm grateful for the recovery community and the motivation and ambition I'm getting from the community to step out of the comfortability zone that I was so used to being in that I thought I had it in. Like, and I want to give a shout out to Tad again. Thank you for having me do this, pushing me to do it. And even though it was last minute, it would have been nice for a heads up. But
Who's Dad? She says.
and I'm just grateful for the friends I'm starting to build and the actual ones that are there for you and my beautiful family.
nice. Perfect. All right, well, we're going to wrap up then. So, with all that. Oh, Rob. I think Brandon had
That's
something
cool.
to
Yeah,
ask
let's
you.
wrap it up.
Brandon had
Robert.
something to ask you.
Thankful for this week, Rob.
Thankful for or grateful for?
Grateful.
It's the same thing almost. I think.
Kind of. I don't know.
What am I grateful for this week?
Bacon puffs.
Bacon puffs.
Yeah, bacon puffs.
Is that what you've been munching on? Pork bellies?
I don't know what they are. They're puffy.
Puppies.
They're puffy.
I am grateful that I'm still not smoking.
Nice.
I'm grateful that I am achieving my goals. And I've got some set, and they're in progress, man. And I should be locking them all down pretty soon, man. I'm just grateful for that, and just grateful for perseverance. That's all I got, and grateful for all of you in recovery.
I thought
and
you had something else. You're also grateful for what?
friendship and boundaries.
Samantha. You can't wipe the smile off your face right now. Look at this.
That's totally a smile.
You
too.
can't wipe it off her face. I think this is awesome. You're right, Tad. I'm grateful for you. I'm grateful for Tad. Get Brandon on here this week because came down to the wire and someone else told him that he was going to be on, and that didn't happen. So he approached Brandon last night, and Brandon stepped
Cornered
up.
him.
Doesn't matter. Whatever it took. Like
It doesn't
I
matter.
got a hug out of it.
there you go. It
love
worked,
it.
and
It doesn't matter.
I'm grateful you stepped up and you're here tonight. Thank you, Brandon. I really appreciate you.
Thank you for having me.
Next week, we got some great guests coming in. It's Harley and Sam B. It's going to be an awesome show. It'll be Tad and myself back here again hosting, and Elena at the board, and Harley and Sam B. And I do want to thank our guests tonight, Rob and Samantha. You guys were awesome. Thank you so much for being open and honest with the audience and sharing some experience, strength, and hope. I think this was a great show, and you guys really put it all out there for the most part. Like, you didn't hold shit back about your topics you got to share on.
Friendship and boundaries.
Brando, thank you very much. I'm glad you're in the room.
It was my idea too.
Elena, thank you for being here and handling business at the board. Business at the board.
Business.
Don't forget you're a queen. Okay?
Business.
That's right.
You queen. Go
Business.
queen. All right. And also, you know what? 2218. It's a hell of a
Wait,
place,
wait.
man. We're not done.
Thank you, Tim, for being
thank
here
you,
this
Tim.
week. We appreciate
Hey.
you. Thank you
I
for showing
stayed
up,
goofy.
taking an Uber here, making sure you showed up. Thank
You're
you.
welcome. You're very welcome. So, this is the time of the show that we do this thing called buzzer beaters. And I only have one in my entire category lane, subject lane, which people don't like. So, me being, do you have one, Brandon?
No.
Okay, well, then with that
He doesn't
said,
even know what that is.
Nope,
I
do
want
not. We
you
didn't do it last week.
at the top of your head. We're gonna go around, turn that mic on, and we're gonna give a recovery product.
You're going first.
Absolutely not. I'm the host.
He said, absolutely not.
The host.
Brando, go for. All right, so like healthy hot dogs, Serenity shampoo.
See, I'm still learning all that.
That you
What?
don't know. You don't
I
got
have no
anything.
idea what that would be.
You just did. All right, Rob, come up with one.
I don't even know what the fuck
I'll
that
go
means.
again, but yeah, what is a healthy hot dog, Rob?
It's a hot dog.
I mean, you're asking the wrong guy, man. What the fuck are you asking me for? I don't know.
Happy hot dog.
Resentment stew? I don't know.
Resentment stew.
Resentment stew.
Nice. Like someone came up with 13-step condoms. Was that what it was? 13-step Robert. What was
No,
it?
it was
Oh.
not.
What was it?
There's no such thing as 13 stepping.
Okay. Well, someone came up with something.
Yeah,
like
it's
that.
1 plus 12 equals 13.
13-step pepper spray is what it was.
I've never heard of any of these.
We're making these up. We make them up.
Yeah, you
That's
gotta
what
make
you're
'em
doing.
up.
You make it up.
All right, now, quick, now. Go, now.
Samantha, go.
Go, Samantha.
Go. Belly
Oh,
buster.
Serenity Sandals.
Boom.
Boom.
Boom. Elena,
I love
Need some
Serenity.
calming
I do too.
jelly beans.
calming jelly beans. Jelly. Jelly. Jeremy, you got one?
Me neither. I'm trying.
You're
Try harder.
Going blank. Going blank.
That's what you're talking about. If we think about it before we say it, it doesn't come out.
That's perfect. Like, that's all good though, man. We're good. This was a-
Spirituality spitters.
Spirituality spitters. Are we? Is that a person or is that what is that?
I don't know. I ain't met him yet.
I already know Elena's head went toward mine was. So, all right, listen, we're going to check out. We appreciate everyone who checked in and was interactive with us. We love you, and we'll see you next weekend.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Bye. Send.